This is Lobo, and welcome to the Type1 Radio Lounge.
Hello, this is actually not Lobo, it's Steve Gaddafi, and Herb Guy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing, friend?
Steve?
Yeah, good to talk to you, man. Yep, well, we're live on the radio, and later on, we've got Dr. Judy Wood coming in to talk to us, which is a bit of a treat. But for the first couple of minutes, half hour or so, or whenever Judy gets here, Herb Guy is going to be talking about setting up a intentional community. Is that correct, Herb Guy?
Yeah.
Not an international community like I misread earlier. So do you want to tell us a bit about what an intentional community is?
For me, it's just about, corporate non-compliance, just getting out and living your life the way people would live their lives if they didn't have to,
go down the store and work and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, work their lives away to buy groceries and pay rent and utilities and stuff. Like, it just all seems pointless to me.
It does, yeah.
And so, yeah, and I don't know, there's a lot of things that go along with that, I guess you want to be off-grid and you want to be growing your own food, which things like permaculture and things like that come into play. And I learned a lot of I kind of had I've had this idea for like 4 years, and I've kind of been chasing after it in one way or another before I even knew that there were other people actually doing
ready to do it, yeah. Yeah, well, Friends of Freeman is definitely the sort of place to find people like that. And so what was your initial idea then, to sort of get a plot of land where people sort of club together and buy it, and then set up a sort of community from there, where building homes on it and stuff like that? Actually making a kind of a regular town, but with everybody pulling together to share, to grow food and stuff like that, yeah?
I didn't really catch all of that.
Sorry, it's my accent probably. No, what was your initial thought to purchase a piece of land where a lot of people could live on, building their own homes and stuff like that? I mean, we were talking earlier about, what was your sandbag houses or something, was that right? Your domes?
Yeah. Super adobe homes, yeah. There's a company called Cal Earth Institute who developed these super adobe homes. It's basically just a long sandbag that you coil into a dome, and as you're coiling it, you're laying layers of barbed wire between layers of sandbag for tensile strength. Okay, and it's one of the strongest structures you can build. It's like flood and hurricane proof and proof.
We have structures in the UK that are built out of straw bales. Have you seen these?
Yeah, I have.
You kind of like get a big skew. You put straw bales together in a normal brick fashion, where you offset one over the other, and then you skewer them with sort of pegs. And apparently that's the warmest house you can live in. Apparently so this sandbag is a big, huge one, and it must be like massive, or is there many of them? Yeah.
I'm sure you'd end up using more than one.
Yeah.
I haven't built one, but it seems, I've been doing I've been studying it as much as I can, and it's about as straightforward a concept as you can come up with.
Hang on, Herb, are you right next to your microphone? Because there's a lot of sort of rustling and stuff going on. Can you stand back a little bit?
It kind of like touches my face. And
oh, does it? Okay. Oh, is it a sort of hands-free thing? Yeah, it's kind of like it's making a bit of I don't know if you can hear it on your side, but it's making a bit of a rustling noise. But
I didn't hear it. You must have been getting it.
Yeah, that's better. So,
all right.
continue, what would you have livestock and everything? Would it be like a town, or would it just be like a a kind of shanty settlement sort of thing?
I'm into anarchy, so
right.
I just want to do my own thing and not be bothered, and
Yeah.
I want to have the space for anybody else who feels moved to do the same thing, because I feel like there's a lot of people, because I talk about this wherever I go. I feel like there's a lot of eyes on me, like waiting for me to actually like do it and like not die.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
But I'm confident it can be done. I mean, it seems like a more natural and secure way to do things. To me, I'd feel way more secure, like, depending on myself than on the economy.
Yeah, sure. Well, definitely.
It's just a matter of Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was saying that definitely the way the economy's heading, this money's going to sort of implode any day now, isn't it? So we do need to think along the lines of self-sustainability for sure.
Sorry, phone was ringing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think investing in the economy is the smartest way to go.
No, it's certainly sort of certainly running out of ideas fast, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really just at this stage. I have a bunch of ideas, but I'm still trying to get the opportunity to put them into practice. I actually found some people who are basically in the same place, ideologically speaking. And I potentially have the ability to use 2 acres of their land,
right,
and get something going. And that's really awesome. Like, things are starting to get a little more tangible, but at the same time, I feel like I want to. It's great that somebody extended this opportunity to me, but I feel like I want to at least try to have the opportunity to like be in the same place and give that opportunity to other people also.
Yeah.
And I mean, people. And there's all kinds of ways that you could go about it. I started my business to kind of toward that end.
Yeah, doing that sort of stuff.
That's not. I have a website called newmoonsoapco.com.
All right, okay. And there's a link to that page, I take it, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
And that's not really even paying the bills, but I mean, it's something I thought of that might work. So I set it up and just kind of let it do its thing, and then I was inspired also when I heard about the Bundan land gift movement. There's a guy named Vinoba Bhabhe if that's how you pronounce it, I think that's right. In India in the 1950s, and he was a disciple of Gandhi, and after Gandhi died, he went around on foot just soliciting land donations from people who had more land than they were using.
Right, yeah.
And they ended up, they created a whole movement out of it. They ended up procuring over 5 million acres of land.
Wow.
In India.
And,
so, I mean, that's one way to go, and people, I mean, it seems like a long shot, but there's a precedent for it.
Yeah, there certainly is, yeah. I mean, obviously I don't really know what's going down in the States sort of thing, but definitely people are getting poorer over here, and pretty soon they're going to have to realise they're going to have to fend for themselves in some kind of way. Okay, we've got another caller here, guys. Do you mind if I just see who this is, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Hello, you're area code 573. You're on the Type 1 Radio Lounge with Steve and Herb Guy.
Hey, it's just Carolyn. I just think this is an interesting topic. I came in a little early. If he wants permaculture, I think it's some great stuff that he's talking about. This is great.
Yeah.
Where's he at, though? That's what I was curious. Where is he located?
He's in Seattle.
Hey,
I'm in Seattle, but hey, Carolyn, it's good to talk to you finally.
Hey, it's great to talk to you. You're doing some great stuff out there. Now, are you just dealing strictly with, what kind of, vegetation are you dealing with? Seriously.
Well, I'm in Seattle now, but I'm trying to get out to New Mexico or Arizona or maybe even the
I don't
Midwest.
know. You got to come to Missouri. I'm trying to set up a sanctuary. You got to help out here, man. I'm telling you, we want to get some stevia. Everybody pronounces it stevia or stevia, and we get some geodesic domes and some hydroponics and something I've never done before, which is aeroponics, but also some vermiponics. I've done the worm stuff before, which is really awesome. And I'm telling you, you ought to come out here. We can, get a heck of a thing going. But now, what have you?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Now, when you say you've been setting this up in Seattle, have you tried anything? Seattle would be a great place for like a mushroom farm. Have you tried any of this kind of stuff, or what?
I actually want to get into growing mushrooms, but I'm actually I'm not really. I live in an apartment, so I'm doing everything I can to get out of here. But I have a community garden plot which kind of failed miserably this year, but I have well, everything's dying now because it's fall, but I had a pretty good garden going on my balcony.
Come on now, my stuff didn't die till December or January. Come on now, you got to keep it going, Hey, you just got to keep it warm enough. But now, what kind of Sonic was doing he was asking us, what kind of stuff were you actually growing? Because you know what, people need to know they can grow it in an apartment, and you can grow it on the roof. If everybody in an apartment building, you talk to the owner, and even if just the people together get talk about it, and it's like you have an urban plot that's hey, my uncle had a place that was like his front yard was like 6 foot by 10. You wouldn't believe what you can do. The thing is, when you got a small area, it's got to be a raised area, and you put the stuff in there. You got to get the good nutrients in there. Put your coffee grinds in there. Save your tea bags. Empty the tea stuff in there, and really make some serious effort. And I'm telling you, I mean, you can go nuts. It's like I was really impressed with what you were doing. I think you need to be. If you were there, I'd give you a hug that would hug the stuffing out of you.
Well, thank you. Virtual hug.
Okay, before this live-in starts, we've just got another caller on the line. So, is that Brett?
Hello?
Brett, is that you?
Hello?
Hello, Brett. You're on the Type1 Radio Lounge with Caroline, Herb Guy, and Steve.
What's cooking? What's cooking, guys?
Well, we're
talking
about permaculture and an intentional community. Is that right, Herb Guy?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Got into add to that, Brett?
Oh, I'm into all of it.
You missed all of them, okay. Where have you been? So, Caroline, you're the gal to talk about this stuff. You've pretty much this has been up your street for a long time, yeah?
Oh, yeah, that's frankly one of the reasons St. Louis County wants to get me out of my county, because it's like I was living in a subdivision, and I got a cool fiberglass thing delivered a couple of years ago, fiberglass greenhouse, but even before that, and even just out in the, open to the air, and there's really a lot of things you can do, and people don't realize it's like in an apartment complex, it depends what kind of roof you get. You got a flat roof, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You got a flat roof, you can put all kinds of plexiglass over things, create your own little dome, create your own little box, and I'm telling you, the biggest thing is that you just got to have the richest stuff and none of this chemical stuff. Jesus, don't get into garbage. But this is the best time of year. I'm so glad you brought this up, because right now everybody from old China Mart, Walmart, to all the Dollar Generals and General Dollar, whoever the hell these people are in America, and I don't know what they're called in UK and EU, and I know people listen to this all over the place. But the thing is, okay, buy all the good, rich, organic stuff that you can. And like, gosh, right now you can get those $8, $10 bags for like $2 or $3. Hey, yeah, Walmart, Target, everybody wants to sell these things, and you're going to have to help me out, Sonic. I don't know what the right names are.
Just one sec, Caroline. We've got another caller.
Oh, go for it.
We got caller 61661. You're on the Type 1 radio line. Namaste. Is that Swami? Swami?
This is Swami Shiva.
Hey, namaste, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. I'm very excited to hear Miss Woods on the show today.
Good. Yes, she is. So she'll be here hopefully in about 20 minutes.
That's an honor.
Yeah. And
I mean,
well,
when I first saw her name show up as being involved in the Type 1 thing, I was like, wow, excellent. Somebody got a hold of somebody with a name,
Yeah.
Sure, that will not be the last.
No. Hopefully it'll be the start of a few things. It's actually my wife is involved in putting on a talk that she's doing this evening in our town of Brighton in England, and she's very graciously agreed to come on later and do a...
Oh, is that how you did it?
Yeah. Yeah, she's doing a book tour right now in the UK, and she's basically staying with independent people, and because she's not very well supported, but she needs to be.
No. Yeah, you guys are awesome to be doing this. And you know what? Wait, Sonic needs to be credited, and Ficheck needs to be credited, and Steve Gaddafi, the guys over there in Brighton, for hosting Dr. Wood, who is an incredible human being who's trying to get truth out. But everybody in Brighton right now that's helping her needs to really get a e-hug, if nothing else. And guys, these guys are they're helping her out because hey, when you're trying to get the truth out, it's not like winning the lottery. You got to bust your butt, and people got to help out.
Yeah.
All you guys doing that is awesome. And whoever called last week, Siva, please, Siva, I can't find your thing. So anybody else trying to get to Brighton or anywhere else, we're gonna help you out. But you got to let us know, or just go directly to Sonic too. And go on Friend of Freeman's, okay? And I'll put it on my page again. How do you hook up there? But you guys are just awesome there, and it is, and people don't realize how incredible it is that people are helping Dr. Wood. This is just amazing. You guys should be getting like an award for this. I mean,
well, that's enough of an award there, right there, Caroline. Thank you very much. So, Swami, how's your show going? I caught it a couple of weeks ago. The podcast. You still doing it? Yeah.
Oh, with Lobo?
No. Your own show on Blog Talk.
Oh, yeah. Well, my personal effort is going through a bit of a change at the moment. I'm going to go to a premium membership thing where I can do more than a half an hour at a time.
We have it.
And I can, and then I'll be able to schedule it during prime time and such as that, but that's all still, being worked on.
Yeah.
What is essential right now at this very moment, no matter where you're standing on the globe, is we're hanging out in the Friendship Agenda chat, and we would like more people to come and hang out with us. I'm here, Freeman's here, Reset's here, Blue Green's here. A lot of the cool folks are here, and we're just waiting for all the other cool folks to come and hang out with us.
I'm Type 1 now. They're waiting for the Judy Wood. There's a bunch of people in the chat room, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I've got the chat room open now, yeah.
Right.
Well, then guys want to...
Agenda.com.
Someone's mic, is that your mic, Herb Guy?
Hey. Making that background noise?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm not moving my mouth.
Herb Guy's a cool guy. I wish I was close with you, Herb Guy. I mean that sincerely.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna be heading out east someday. But
I'm telling you, I want you to think about this Sanctuary, Missouri, man. I'm gonna have you there if you want to be.
I will keep.
I'll put you to work, though.
I'll
put you to work, man. You got brains and you got smarts about doing this stuff, so I'll put you to work, hon.
All right. I will.
There's an offer for you.
Hey, we gotta make enough food so that when Steve comes, we gotta make enough food when Steve and Sonic and Sidechick come over, they can eat. We got to make a lot of food.
All right.
Among
like
a lot of herbs.
Herb guy, have
Excuse
you
me,
actually
herbs.
got these? You said earlier you had a couple of acres. Have you actually got that in the bag?
No, I haven't met these people. It's kind of a tentative thing. So, I'm not putting all my chickens in one, or I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch yet.
Yeah. Good advice. But is that?
No, I think you need to sell all that and move to the
Seattle?
sanctuary. I'm sorry.
No, he said earlier, Caroline, before you came on, that he'd a couple of acres. That's a possibility, and I think that's in the Seattle area. Is that correct? Herb guy?
Okay.
No, that was in Arizona.
You actually bought
sorry, Arizona.
I live in Seattle, but I'm thinking there's going to be a move coming. It's either going to be Arizona, New Mexico, possibly Missouri or Kansas City.
Hey, we got to talk. I'm telling you, Herb, man. I'm telling you. Hey, you don't want to go to New Mexico. Too much underground crap going on there. I mean, Jesus, God, don't indulge you. I can show you some. You don't want to go there. I'm telling you. We get a nice central location. We get enough domes put up. Doesn't matter what's going on. And I mean, hey, this wasn't called the Cave State for nothing. We can do this, and I'm telling you, we can kick butt, and Emily can come there, and Emily will have a nice place to park, get cleaned up. We can have some congresses there that will kick butt.
Well, I'd be happy to work with you, Carolyn. I appreciate the offer.
We're in the center part of America, so we can get everybody from Mexico, from Canada, and that way it's not too far from for Sonic and for Steve and everybody to come from from the UK.
Yeah. Another thing that I want to do, I mean, that's a great idea. I think it'd be great to get together and start working together, meet each other, and help each other out and stuff. I also want to get satellite things going on too, though. I think the more of these things we can get going, the better. That's why I like the idea of the land gift thing. I've also, you guys also, at least the people I'm speaking to, I know you saw the Friends of Freeman thing for the fundraiser powwow thing for the intentional community. We didn't really have much of a turnout for that. Brett came on and we typed at him because he didn't have a microphone at the time, and Jay was on, and Jay had some cool. Jay was talking about free energy and stuff as usual, and he's always got all kinds of cool stuff to say, and he's got he's got a device I'm going to try out and experiment and see if I can get that to do anything cool, and maybe that'll be a way to generate some revenue towards this sort of thing. But I want to get people together that have some sort of because I see the fundraising thing happening. I just don't know how, because I don't know anything about that arena. So if anybody listening has any know-how in that department, we could use you. And if anybody that likes that is into this idea, thinks it's a good cause, wants to get together and because I don't want it to be all about. I want to take the focus off of me and put it on everybody. If we could start
collectively,
yeah, if we could start some sort of organization or something, I don't know, but I want to get I want people to start getting together and get organized, and so all I really have to contribute at this point is some ideas and some skills, but if we all start getting on the same page, then stuff will start happening,
Yeah, we're getting there, man. I mean, the first steps is the baby steps. We're all sort of getting the ideas, and we know that we're going to put that. We've just been joined by Sonic.
Hello,
and Howard and Muzz, sorry.
And Judy and Sidekick and Azov and Holloman and Vicky will be meeting here shortly.
There'll be quite a crowd any minute, so you better speak now, Caroline.
No, I'm just trust me. This was an honor to even just listen on the phone. No, I'm sorry to say, Dr. Wood. I'm not going to call her that. Otherwise, she's an honorable person. I mean, I've read her stuff, and she's a great, incredible person. And hey, you guys are just awesome anyway, Steve and Sonic and Sidecheck. For God's sakes, you guys are just awesome over there. So it's I'm just honored to even be on the phone. So hey, I'll just sit here and listen, and I'll chime in whenever you need me. Seriously, I can ask any technical questions you want, because I've actually worked on some of the weapons she's talking about, and I'll add whenever you guys need me to, because I'm just honored to be here with the incredible people. And anytime anybody is on the Type 1 radio, you're lucky, seriously, because this is an awesome group of people. Seriously.
Just like to say that I've just got back from the talk there, and it was quite an amazing presentation.
Yeah,
yes.
good.
She has got some fascinating information. I only really found I've really listened to Judy maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. I think it was a Red Ice Creations.
Yeah,
thing.
she's not widely known, but she's known amongst. Yeah.
And the first time listening to it, it sort of really went over my head. I didn't quite understand what she was saying. And then John Lash was on Freighter Show maybe a month ago, and then he was sort of explained it, and then I went back to listen to the Red Ice thing again, and it sort of made a lot more sense. And just hearing it live from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. Caroline, we filmed it, so it'll be posted up somewhere soon for you to see the talk that she gave tonight.
Oh, awesome! I mean, I'll put it out on the internet. I will do everything I can to make it viral, because, you know, I used to work. I was the original producer on Veritas, and I know that Mel Fabregas has interviewed her there, and I love Henrik on Red Ice. You know, I put Red Ice on my page all the time, both at Friends of Freeman, which is the place to go for social stuff, and I put everything else on my Facebook too. And I mean, Red Ice is great, and they put her on there, and she's done an incredible job, and you know, she's trying to get the information out there, and she's one of the few brave people that has actually gone to the United States Supreme Court to try to deal with this, when everybody else just keeps saying, "Hey, we ought to do something. We don't know what the have to do." You know, hey man, we ought to fucking.
You still there, Shrammy?
She actually did it, you know, and the thing is, she deserves the credit. You know what I mean? And people want to sit there and say, okay, you know.
You'll have an opportunity to tell her in a minute.
Yeah.
Are you still there, Shrammy?
Oh, God. Thank God I'm not there in person. I'd heard her.
Shrammy?
I'm just
Namaste.
waiting for Carolyn to stop talking.
I shut up.
So where did
you guys.
Hang on, Caroline. Shrammy, where did you first hear about Judy Wood then?
I'm sorry?
Where did you first hear about Judy Wood?
Where did I first hear about it? You know, I don't actually know.
All right. Okay.
She was on a show of some sort, and I got to reading about, you know, this incredibly, you know, crazy, if you look at it from the mainstream news sort of thing. They're not going to talk about those sorts of weapons and things. And just that anyone with any knowledge of that sort of stuff would come out and start getting attention is just a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I was just like, even if she's not correct, she knows and has access to knowledge more people need to have.
Yeah.
So
well, that's her whole point of her teachings, that she presents the facts. She doesn't really sort of...
She didn't give an explanation at all, really. She presented the information that happened on the day, you know, how the tower was disintegrated right in front of everybody's eyes, and then she sort of explained the relationship with the Hutchinson
effect,
and that was as far as it went. She didn't say, well, this did it.
Yeah, she doesn't blame anything. She just presents
these people did it. She just says, something happened here that we don't know. So, in order to get an understanding of who could have done it and why they did it, we need to understand what happened, basically.
Yeah. Well, as far as I understand, it's free.
If all that her input does is expose more people to the fact that weapons they never dreamed of exist and have perhaps been turned on their relatives, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, anything that opens these doors to what was hidden, anything that opens the doors to that allows the light to get in. And that's all we have to do is keep looking at these people and what they do and what they've been doing and keep pointing at them.
Absolutely.
We don't have to attack them. We don't have to attack them.
That's exactly right, sir.
They will kill themselves. They will turn on one another, and that's all we have. Just keep looking at them.
I think they are doing already, Swami, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you listen to, I don't know if y'all listen to Ben Fulford's stuff, but if he's telling the truth, we're not far away from a big reset.
Yeah.
And it's not far away. And it's going to put Alex Jones out of business.
Well, that would be terrible, wouldn't it?
Such a shame.
Well, look, I learned a lot through Alex Jones.
Yeah.
So
I discovered framing through Alex Jones. But I don't like the guy, I must admit.
Well, it's not. I'm indifferent to him.
Yeah, he's just a fearmonger, basically.
Yeah.
And that's part of their agenda. They thrive on fear. So Alex is just.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. See, I was listening to Alex Friday, I guess, and I felt him. It's. I don't believe that he is pushing an agenda. I think he really feels like he says.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to look at someone who's come to some sort of name recognition, and try to take them out because they're a big target.
I agree with you. I remember you saying before that you have to look at the light and the dark.
Oh, absolutely. You cannot look at one and think the other does not exist.
Absolutely.
Or has no impact. You've got to look at the whole thing, everything that's going on, because you are everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's the nature of duality, isn't it?
Right on.
Yeah. Well, that's the point. I mean, we're in a dualistic reality, but we are not limited to that. And when it gets to the religious stuff, religions are all based on people who had mystic experiences.
Yeah.
Well, everyone can have mystic experiences. It's just that what came along after them didn't teach how to have these experiences for yourself. They started worshiping the one who had the experience, when the one who had the experience didn't want to be worshipped. They said, come here, let me talk to you. I'll tell you what to do. I'll show you. And that's that. That's the objective. Any realized being will only help you in whatever way is most appropriate for you.
Yep.
And it's a real simple thing. But those who, brought up the whole Buddhist thing and the Christian thing and all these egocentric religious systems, they missed the whole point.
Yeah.
They just missed the whole point of what the teachers had to say.
Yeah. Swami, the whole of Brighton has just walked into my kitchen.
Where's Judy?
And we've got the eminent Judy Wood with us. So I think we'll just play a little song and then we'll bring her on. Does that sound good? That was Judy as a punk, which in Britain means it's a good thing because you're a free thinker if you're a punk rocker over here. Yeah. Is that right, Sonic?
That's right. I was a little bit young for the punk scene, so I was only 4 when punk started.
Only 4? I was a bit older than that myself. How old were you, Swami, when punk rock hit?
Punk didn't make a big impact in southeast Oklahoma where I
Oh, the Flaming Lips then, yeah?
The what?
The Flaming Lips, do you know them?
Flaming Lips I've heard of, yes.
Yeah, well they're from
No,
Oklahoma.
I never did get into the punk thing. I was much more of a heavy metal guy.
Okay, fair enough.
Much
Well,
more
the punk scene in Britain
Motorhead
was more to do with free thinking than it was music. Well, as much to do with free thinking as it was to do with music. But anyway, as you can hear, everybody's sort of in the kitchen sort of thing. But do you want to continue on with what you were saying, Swami? Because it was very enlightening. If you can remember that.
Yeah, I know where I was going. Here's the point of everything from this Swami's point of view and experience. We, the individuated units of consciousness strolling about on the planet, each of us has the potential to go within our own selves and find the truth. It will reveal itself to you. You do not have to. It's not a hard thing to do. And considering the vibrational frequency shifting that's going on right now, I mean, you know, the very vibrational rate of matter is increasing. So the old limitations do not apply anymore. Those who, you know, maybe back in the 70s or whatever, thought about getting into meditation and trying to be enlightened like the gurus and all that sort of thing, this has become very easy now. It really, really is. And it's not like when enlightenment occurs, you don't gain anything. What happens is you directly and consciously recognize what has always already been the case. The pure light of consciousness, that you will perceive this within yourself. This is what every master of every tradition has talked about. Jesus said, if thine eye be single, thy body will be full of light. That's a very real and directly perceivable phenomenon that is shared by people who follow the mystic path. And the mystic only means that you are having a direct inner experience connecting to the greater reality.
Wow. Is Andrew there?
I'm here. I've just got to fiddle with my sound.
Okay.
You're coming through.
You're coming through loud and clear. Okay, carry on, Swami. Sorry, that was just a sound check. Swami?
Yes.
Yep. Continue, sir.
Okay. Okay. Once upon a time, it took people a lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of work and study and practice and meditation to reach the ultimate state that is called Jivanmukta, which is free while embodied. You become both 100% fully, limitlessly divine while functioning in an individualized body. And when you reach this point, it's really, and it's not a big deal. And it's not like only a few people have ever done this. Many people have done it. And it's just not well understood, and it's not talked about very much. But it is absolutely the end result for every human. That's how it works. And it doesn't matter if the human is from the planet Earth or any of the other 400,000 worlds that are spoken of as occupied by humans in the Vedas. All this stuff has been known for a very long time. And it's been being passed down from teacher to student always. And it will continue to be that way. But the powers that be, or the powers that were, or, whatever you'd like to call these folks, and their off-world
entities
and all that. When they came to this planet, we had a great party for them. And they came and they crapped in our pool, and now we got to kick them out. Sorry. So we can get back to doing what humans are supposed to do, which is what Freeman is out there doing now with the friendship agenda and Miss Emily on the road.
Yeah.
We can all do this. It is our nature to do this unless our thinking has been tinkered with by someone else to move it in a different direction and to make us think only of how much you have to lose or how much you can be hurt. When we function seeing only the best in everything, the best happens, even when you're scared crapless. These things happen. Talk to Freeman about sitting along the side of the road in PA with Miss Emily.
Yeah.
No? I can only imagine what that was like. But then, the universe, the awesome, wish-fulfilling machine that it is, sent help. And what did he gain? More new parts on Miss Emily? I mean, look, it was just sitting there going, we got you covered, man. Don't sweat it. It's going to look scary for a minute, but we got you. Don't sweat it. Because when you're doing the right thing, those forces in the universe will line up right behind you. The masters stand shoulder to shoulder with you every day when you choose to operate as an awakened human being, even if you're not fully awake. You don't have to be completely enlightened to be smart, to be a human. Just do that. That's enough. Because just doing that will pull you further and further into what it really means to be human and to express amongst other humans that you know to be the right thing.
Jay says he can't get through on his scan button.
Jay?
Yeah.
You can't get through?
Jay.
Well, Jay, if you're listening, try again. Sorry, Swami, we're just trying to get as many people on as we can.
Yeah, and if anybody else wants to ring in, there is obviously the phone number 661-621-7. What's that?
7506.
Yeah, and if you go to the Type1 Radio page there, on the blog talk, the Skype button should work.
It should work, yeah.
It's
working for Swami, so come on.
Yeah. And also, who's at the bottom?
That's Brett, but he's making too much noise.
Okay. Was he eating?
Brett, what were you making noise with? Brett, he's gone.
So Jay, just try and ring. Don't try and ring my Skype, because that won't work. Try and ring the show Skype. Oh yeah. Maybe, we're going to try and conference you in, actually, Jay. Get them all in there.
Yeah.
Conference them all in.
So that was nice words of wisdom there again from Swami. Thank you very much.
We got to say, Swami.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello.
Hello, Jay. Free Energy
Hello.
Jay, you're on the Type 1 Radio Lounge. How are you, Jay?
Pretty good. I couldn't figure out how to get on there. I keep hitting that click thing and it nothing works.
Yeah, there's about 3 stages. You have to click that, then click something else, then click something else, and you're in.
And I've just got a Skype message from the man Freeman saying, go to thefriendshipagenda.com and you can listen in the chat there, and everybody's in there apparently. Yeah, Freeman.
Hi, Freeman.
Call in.
Give us a call, Freeman.
Yeah.
You're all right,
One moment of silence, and that's what we get to hear.
Yeah.
Why didn't somebody just fart?
That would be rude. Come on.
So, should we let Judy say hello?
Should we introduce our special guest? We've just
Oh.
been attending
a very interesting
talk in Brighton that has just blown so many people away, and people were very receptive. And it was a talk by Judy Wood, who just happens to be. We managed to persuade her to come back with us to be on the Type 1 radio show. And so what kind of reception have you had around the rest of the country, Judy?
Rather amazing. No Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like, as the U.S. seems to.
You were saying that in Great Britain people have been a lot more receptive a lot more open-minded and receptive to your work than in the U.S.
Oh yes, and
that kind of flashcard culture in America.
Right, it's like, memorize, regurgitate, get in lockstep, and I've been thinking about that. What is the difference? It's a pretty amazing difference. You have a squeaky chair here.
Yeah, apologies for the squeaky chair.
It's all sound effects.
Okay, and it really is a different culture, and there's a couple of different things about it, and one of them is how I was thinking of this English friend of ours that came to visit us when I was in junior high, and he went to junior high with me, wearing his uniform, and the U.S. junior high kids, made fun of him, snickered at him. He just grinned like he knew what their problem was.
Yeah.
And I think there's a really big difference. There's more independent thought and inner security here, that people can listen and take things in. Who they are isn't dependent on going with the crowd. And there's more independent thought. And that's, I think, what becomes quite important.
Yeah. You were talking last night on the Isle of Wight.
Mm-hmm.
How did that go?
Amazing turnout there. A lot of people. And they all were very appreciative of it.
I heard David Icke's son was there, gave you a book.
Oh, Gareth.
Right, he
was it autographed?
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
Some plain reading.
Alice in Wonderland book.
Oh yeah. I've not actually read your book yet, but just looking through it.
I'm afraid.
Just looking through it,
the pictures in it
and comparing that to David Icke's book, just what I've seen so far, I've gone, whoa.
Yeah, I think that if anybody hasn't heard of your work, or even if people have heard of your work, and then they go to your book, and I've seen a lot of I've seen talks that you've done in the past, New Hiroshima talks and things like this, and kind of thought she's onto something here, but didn't quite understand it, couldn't really explain what the gist of it was, but I knew there was something going on there, and have kind of tried to kind of follow along with your work and the book has got so much more information in it, and it's incredibly concise. And one of the things that kind of really knocked me sideways was this idea of the microwave energy technology, which you're describing in there's a transcript of a woman speaking over the telephone to a 911 telephonist, and obviously the telephonist is trying to keep her lucid, because if she's in a building where there's a lot of smoke, she's going to be losing consciousness, and so they're trying to keep them lucid. But this woman is not losing consciousness. She is in a mad panic, yet she is saying there is smoke around and there is heat. But obviously it's not smoke as we know smoke, because she's not losing consciousness in any way. And then I looked into things, I saw a video on Andrew Johnson's site about the active denial system, and another video about called Star Wars in Iraq, which I've actually put up on the Friends of Freeman site, because it's a very interesting look at doctors in Iraq talking about patients who have come in with a new type of injury which they can't work out how it's been sustained. It's not bullet wounds or anything, but there's a new type of injury that they can't explain. It's nothing they've ever seen. So it's a new type of weaponry. They're concluding themselves. They don't know who you are or anything, but they're concluding there's a new type of weaponry around, which is inflicting a new type of injury. So we need to know about this, really, don't we? It's power to inflict a new type of injury upon us.
Can we recognize it?
Can we recognise when it's being used, or will we just call it a burn or a, yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I figured if they're using a microwave scalar weapon, they were using two satellites throwing a scalar wave, then they were using one satellite to fire off a maser right at the building itself. And the maser is what set off the scalar waves when the maser hit the building.
And how do you conclude that? What evidence supports that?
Well, I've experimented with producing scalar waves and torsion waves.
But what does that have to do with it? What happened to the building?
The building built up heat from it. The scalar waves open a corridor, and that energy is infinite. You can put the entire universe in a pinpoint size of the head of the needle. What happens is you have something that goes into phase conjunction, and what happens is that it allows energy into this universe. And it's just like igniting a sun or something. It's nothing but pure energy.
Hang on, Jay, let Judy make a point.
What I'm wondering about is you're saying this is what was used, and I'm wondering what evidence you have that that's what was used in the building,
or is it just an idea?
No, it had to be scalar on a microwave basis, because the others would be too long. Now, the scalar wave generators were probably just regular microwave generators that used to make a scalar field. How they did it was by using magnetic coils, and they ran one magnetic field against the other.
Okay, but what evidence that at the World Trade Center supports that?
Oh, well, the disintegration of the calcium in the cement is the biggest thing, and besides the pool of metal that was underneath.
Ah, but was there a pool of metal?
Yeah, I'm looking for the evidence that supports what you're getting at. You're talking about that the buildings were cooked, were heated up.
Any kind of calcium it just turned to powder. Even in your bones, they probably didn't find very many people with bone mass or anything.
See, I like to talk about evidence, and I'm lost without being able to talk about that. I'm familiar with the evidence of what happened at the World Trade Center. So, wondering, you have this idea, and I'm trying to connect the two.
Now in Iraq, they just were using microwave. Microwave will do that disorientation. Just plain microwaves that are transmitted. They weren't scalar weapons.
Okay.
Like the active denial system, is that the kind of thing?
Well, they started out experimenting with microwaves, even on insects. They found that insects would, when they were hit with high frequency microwaves, they would change direction for one thing. But what it slowly builds up heat in the body, especially the brain, and it causes disorientation first before it causes any kind of death or anything like that. It's very, very wicked. Basically roast from the inside out. In fact, you can't get near regular microwave towers.
Yeah, no,
It's unsafe, or even high frequency towers without getting burnt by the radiation. The body is very vulnerable that way.
Judy was making some interesting observations in America about how when they switched their television signals to what's it called? The new
digital television.
Digital television, which is just going on in this country. It isn't all over at the moment, but it's just going on. There seemed to be a greater culmination of tornadic activity going on in America, and that in the fields that are being created by this different energy which is coming out from the
normally in the Midwest it's Tornado Alley. This spring the Midwest has tornadoes, but beginning in 2008 they became super duper tornadoes. Mm-hmm. And 2008, coincidentally, was when the nation started gearing up for this big switch over to digital television. Perhaps new radio transmission towers were put in.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen in this country, or perhaps in Europe as well.
Yeah. So
on the continent.
The switchover is just about complete over here.
Okay, so
it's next March, I think.
Next March, yeah. Each area is getting there, and we've certainly seen some different weather changes. Absolutely, yeah.
The Hutchison effect is created by interfering radio frequency signals within a static field. Normal weather systems have a static field around them.
Yeah. And you get thunderstorms with a tornado.
Shower is a static field as well, isn't it?
And then if you interfere radio frequency signals, and suddenly, there's more installed, more put into use.
No.
Would be interesting. So if you see a bunch of, let's just concern.
We get a day after tomorrow scenario. Was it that film where all the tornadoes and things started popping up? Was it that film?
Yeah. And
that's why, because everybody wants to watch the X Factor or something.
In high definition.
In high definition.
You want to see everybody's pimples.
Yeah. So it was a very, very interesting talk, and Judy's book I would highly recommend people to look at Judy's book, because
which is Where Did the Towers Go?
It's called Where Did the Towers Go, and there's just so much information in there. Also talking about the metal thing, about molten metal, that things that what's your quote? Things that look hot.
Hot things glow, but not everything that glows is hot.
It's hot, right? And just there are certain temperatures at which metal becomes molten, and if metal becomes molten at that temperature, it has to be at a particularly extreme temperature. So where there is footage of what looks like molten material appearing from a section of one of the Twin Towers, this may appear to be molten material, but if it is as hot as real molten material, it would have been having an extreme burning effect going on all around it. There would have been smoke and fire and flames and a real inferno happening around it. But it's just very calmly pouring out in a beautiful cascade of sparks.
And to be glowing like that, orange, yellow, that's, like 1100, 1200 degrees centigrade.
That's just before white hot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's slightly before white hot.
Right.
Yeah.
And, but if it's molten iron, then it's going to be, well, it's going to be like 1,550 degrees centigrade at least. Now, aluminum melts at 660 degrees centigrade. So if you have this 1,600 degree liquid pouring out over the aluminum cladding on the outside of the building,
it's going to melt the aluminum.
Right, and then it's not melted. Right.
No, nothing. It doesn't even steam.
Aluminium for us English people.
Okay. Excuse me.
Now you're talking to America, so aluminum's fine. Yeah. Let's pull the whole thing off.
But we're in good old England, so we'll use the English terms. How it was said in the first place.
But there are just so many amazing
these orange Cheetos, on pieces of paper, and the paper isn't burning.
Exactly, yeah, something glowing to almost white hot, yet the paper around it isn't on fire.
So what's the relationship with the hurricane? Are you suggesting that whatever happened or whatever
energy they created?
Yeah, pushed off the hurricane, or are you saying
I don't
that
have any conclusions about exactly what the hurricane was used for. You have to ask the people who organized, whatever happened on 9/11.
Yeah.
But what
I'd like to do that.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
If you're out there,
yeah. If you did 9/11, please ring in.
But in looking at all the evidence, you can't eliminate any of it. You have to look at all the evidence. And that hurricane is part of the evidence.
Right,
and the fact that they didn't mention it makes it a big suspicious thing. Or underplayed it, yeah. It was mentioned in some very small way. But
I'd never heard of it until...
yeah, I'd never heard of it.
How about when
Dr.
Geraldo
Wood?
Rivera said, just 1 year ago, Geraldo Rivera said, well, it's really too bad that, too bad we didn't have a hurricane on 9/11. It changed everything.
I know, that was amazing. I heard this clip tonight. Judy played this clip of this guy saying, if only there'd been a hurricane on 9/11.
So is that him actually not knowing, or
He still doesn't know. I mean, as far as we know, this was a year ago.
Have you contacted him and has he surely he's got satellite footage. Was he working? He's been in the.
He's been chasing them for about 4
Speaking of which,
years.
here's another piece of evidence. I should play the clip. It's from a radio show in the U.S., the Power Hour, Joyce Riley. She had some guy call in who said, "You're a liar for saying there's a hurricane on 9/11. I know there wasn't a hurricane on 9/11." Joyce Riley is saying, "This is really hurting your credibility because we can't verify whether or not there really was a hurricane. It looks like there wasn't a hurricane. Just look at the National Hurricane Center." Yeah. But the fact that somebody's trying to discredit me for saying that there's a hurricane there when you can check, it implies that they didn't know.
Yeah. And some people did. Some, like Fox News, actually did report Hurricane Erin. But it was like, don't worry about this. It's heading out. But then it was moving further in, and they were like, oh, don't worry. It's going to move out in a minute. But it came so closer than...
It was raining on Cape Cod.
Yeah, raining. So that's pretty close. And see all the stuff that went on about Irene just recently.
Yeah. So what's the difference? What's the distance from New York to Cape Cod for all of that?
Well, New York, Long Island that sticks out there. The tip of Long Island was like right under the outer bands as well. But maybe it's, I don't know, like the 200 miles or...
Okay, so...
so it's a fair distance,
Yeah. Well, towards that is, to America.
Maybe it's that, I don't think it's that distance. It's...
Well, Cape Cod from New York.
Yeah.
Well, 200 miles with a huge hurricane, that's not that far, is it?
No.
Really?
What was our friend saying to us the other day, that hurricanes, the guy who watches hurricanes for a living, and they're all changing direction now?
Oh no, they're all following the line of that magnetic thing.
Well, this one is. Hurricane Erin has magnetic north.
Right.
Where all of the other ones tend to whoosh up parallel to the coast.
Right. Well, we were speaking to a friend who works for FEMA, And he he watches hurricanes for a living, sort of thing, you know. And
he's contracted to FEMA. He doesn't work.
He doesn't work for them. Yeah, he's contracted, but his job is to go to disaster areas and try and help, sort of thing. And he's saying that all the hurricanes lately have been changing direction. It's probably magnetic north, like you said.
Really?
Yeah. It's his job. He's sort of
to kind of pick up on what you were saying, Nick, about what's the relevance of the hurricane. I've often seen Judy's talks and been rather intrigued by the evidence of the field effects and that, and thought, that's interesting, but not really being able to kind of see how that is kind of linked in with things.
Because I won't state that. Yeah, I know this is used for that.
Yeah,
because I don't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. She doesn't like to kind of lay it out for you, so that, or just tell you like, right, this is this and this is that, and
this could have been used for, because it's like.
She's not going to tell you the story, she's just going to give you evidence and you work it out yourself, but I'm not very good at stuff like that.
Well, you're an academic, you deal in facts,
I've been lucky enough to be able to talk with Judy and help her. She's helped me work it out, if you like. And she was saying that we were talking about Van de Graaff generator, and how that creates a static field. And makes your hair stand on end.
I've done it at school.
John Hutchison uses a static field along with other converging fields to make his the effects that he recreates. And Judy was saying that a hurricane creates these static field effects, and so perhaps in some way the static field that was being created by the hurricane was being used in some way.
We do know that the static field was close enough because we have a record of thunder at JFK Airport, LaGuardia Airport, and Newark Airport, the three major airports.
New York,
thunder there means, you got a
field effect.
Yeah.
And is it possible to harness that?
The levitation reports as well of people actually at the site. Yeah. So there were actually field effects occurring at the actual site.
The picture of the car that's sort of over the fence, that's underneath the lip of the house. Yeah, that baffles me.
It didn't tumble there.
No, how did? Yeah, it must have just slipped in.
Levitated.
Yeah.
But let me clarify something that often folks so often get misled on. That they think that they harness the energy, or you plug the extension cord into the hurricane to power some gizmo somewhere, not realizing the static field is part of the issue. Okay, here's an example. How much energy does it take to move a glass across the counter? Depends on the mechanism.
Depends on,
If you push it across the dry countertop, it takes a certain amount of energy. If you put water on the countertop and hydroplane across, it takes almost no energy. So the amount of energy it takes to move it is dependent on the mechanism. Now, that water isn't providing energy to scoot it across. Is it like, it takes a certain amount of energy to push it across when it's dry?
Yeah, it's taking away the resistance.
Right, but it isn't like where extension cord is plugged in, providing energy to push it across the dry countertop.
Okay,
It's a different mechanism.
Right.
And that mechanism doesn't require, the same amount of energy. Think of the static field that way. Rather than harnessing energy to do X, Y, and Z, think of it as the water that allows the cup to hydroplane. It just provides this environment that allows this other, interaction to take place.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
High electrostatic fields will cause torsion fields to appear too.
I didn't know.
So it would cause torsion fields.
So you mix
static will cause torsion.
And when you have torsion fields, you can have all kinds of anomalous properties, like boards going through trees, time distortion, levitation, all kinds of things.
Right, that's the issue of hurricanes. And I believe that the hurricanes are a natural occurring interferometry, so to speak, of like what the Hutchinson effect is, which is a static field in which he interferes radio frequency signals. So if we have static fields normally in nature, and then we have extra, doses of radio frequency signals fly all over the planet, and they keep increasing, we're fixing to mess up.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So now you see what my concern is about in the Midwest. We've suddenly, beginning in 2008, had this step
well, last
function
year was the
increase.
biggest one of all time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's another cool thing that to observe is the Joplin tornado. There was a bunch of folks, I think it was either 17 or 19 folks in this convenience store. When the tornado came, they ran to the back and got in the cooler, big walk-in cooler, and it didn't lose its size. It was a huge cooler, and they closed the door and all. You could hear things around it, but you didn't hear the side get ripped off and a big whooshing air flow through. It was a closed box, and this guy had this video camera going. It was pretty dark. You saw some lights flash by as the thing was twirling around. But what was kind of amazing, okay, you can hear they thought they were meeting their end. One guy says, "I love you all, I love you all," and then it's all quiets down, and the storm's kind of gone, and they say, "Who's under me? Oh, is that you on top of me?" They're all
they've all whoa! What, they've all levitated and dropped and stuff
up.
Like
Yeah.
Wow!
Who's under me? Is that you under me? Is that you on top of me?
Yeah.
It's like a pile back.
Yeah.
Wow.
How is that? So
And
they're so worried for their lives at that time. And in a dark enclosed space.
But if it was in, they're just in this cooler, don't they huddle together or stand together?
Yeah.
Why are they stacked up?
Yeah.
Unless they were floating around haphazardly.
Yeah, you'd all stand in the corner and hold hands or something, or hug.
Yeah.
But if you're on top of each other,
or huddle.
Why would you try and climb on top of each other? It doesn't make sense.
And when you think that cooler is all metal coated, so it's probably
it's wrapped in aluminum, isn't it? Yeah.
It acts like a Faraday cage, so all that could get in there would be torsion energy.
Interesting there.
Is that like Farrell's donut thing again?
Mm-hmm.
It's my understanding that in tornadoes also you have anti-gravity.
Yeah.
Because people have been lifted up. They can breathe just fine inside the funnel cloud.
Yeah.
There was the thing tonight you were saying about someone lifted up and just placed down.
Someone read my book.
Oh, in the football field guy.
Yeah, and he read my book and then, contacted me and said, oh yeah, they're practicing football and the coach called him off the field, but he wasn't close enough. He didn't get out in time. The tornado picked him up. And he said that proprioception was very precise and movement was extremely easy. Proprioception meaning you close your eyes and you can touch your finger to your nose because you know where your hand is.
Yeah.
Knowing we're all...
So you're not spun out and disorientated.
Right, not at all
completely
disoriented. And probably weightlessness.
Yeah.
Those were all and it was very easy to move around, and he knew we're all in this.
Yeah, well, there's a new sort of fairground ride or an attraction now where you can go and they spin you in anti-gravity. That sounds similar to that.
Do you know what? In the Wizard of Oz,
hey, you're talking about it.
the house is picked up by the tornado and then put down very carefully, isn't it? It doesn't smash to the ground, does it?
That wasn't filmed, though.
Yeah, was that for real?
but in this guy,
it was in black and white.
Football player guy who got lifted up, so you can breathe just fine. And many people say that if you're in the middle of it now, if you get, on the edge of it, you might get torn out.
Did he? Was he was obviously sat down by the tornado.
Gently put it back down. It was fine.
When
was
it
that?
to the middle of it before the active outside zone, or did it create itself?
It formed on him.
It formed within the area where he was.
There's quite a few of them that people who had that.
Was it little kids who were playing football in that thing? Because I've seen a video of some little kids somewhere playing a football match, and the tornado suddenly...
Probably a different one.
Right, it's probably a different one, yeah.
But there's quite a few, examples of this. There's also this story of some antique coins that got picked up, and they don't ride in the funnel. They ride in the clouds up above, and then they, 2.5 or 3 miles downstream, they just got set back down.
Yeah. Oh,
spot.
yeah.
One
yeah.
place. There's some weird things like that. A lot of weird stuff with these field effects that, when stuff doesn't get destroyed or does get destroyed.
Yeah.
But look at some areas that have been devastated by the tornado. Like in Joplin, the trees don't have bark on them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing.
I've heard stories years ago about
Nothing.
piles of frogs and piles of fish just sort of dropping on. Would that be the same?
Probably. It's like different types of things getting picked up and dropped. But it's obviously a weird kind of energy field and a different kind of thing than we've been taught that it is.
Yeah. And
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
And someone knows how to harness these kind of
control it or reproduce it.
What we would call weird effects, but to them they call useful effects, and they're using them in a very useful way to them, but perhaps not useful to us at the moment if it's being used in quite a harmful way.
Certainly not in weapon form, anyway, that's for sure.
No. Yeah.
And that isn't to say that we have to have tornadoes to create this effect, because
John Hutchison doesn't have tornadoes.
Yeah, no, and there's static electricity around us all the time, isn't there?
In the ether.
Yeah, thunderstorms or anything.
Orgone.
It's naturally.
Orgonite, yeah.
It's naturally there. Yeah. So, yeah, somebody knows how to use some very interesting natural.
And her name is
effects.
Fire.
Yeah.
Well, it was patented over 100 years ago.
That's
Just
right.
over
Yeah.
100 years ago.
Yeah, 100 years ago, almost to the day, wasn't it? The 24th of October.
Yeah.
This was patented by
George Pigott.
George
And
Pigott.
Judy was in the very spot on the very day 100 years ago?
No, I was at Blackpool talk, and I added the slide in, but when it was 1903 when he applied for the patent, but it was October 24th, 1911.
When it was granted.
Yeah, that was in Blackpool.
2011.
That was in Blackpool in 2011.
Right.
And it was just 100 years to the day that the patent was granted. That is this levitation. He had a static field.
So somebody taken
Very static field, and then put some other energy source into it, and it has this levitating balls.
So 100 years ago, somebody knew how to do.
Somebody levitated the boat 100 years ago.
Yeah, it took
electrical energy.
It took about 250 kilovolts to cause an object to levitate, those balls. But he did a later experiment where he found that even alternating current of high voltage will do the same thing.
Was that before or after Tesla?
During.
During. Tesla's great with alternating current.
There were quite a few people. There were people at that time who were experimenting with
Then
this
it was
kind
above
of
the
thing.
table.
It
wasn't in the back room.
Yeah. Well, the rest of the world were living with gas lights in their homes and this kind of thing.
And then J.P. Morgan.
J.P. Morgan came in and
Edison.
went,
Yeah.
And look where we are now.
Yeah. They suppressed it all, didn't they? They didn't allow that technology.
Yeah, in fact, what he was using was a Windhurst machine on the original experiment. But he had it encased and pressurized with, I believe, carbon dioxide, so he could get a stronger electron field from the Windhurst. Usually, you can only get about a K and 150 K off a Windhurst, but he got over 250 K, and metal balls about 3 to 4 inches in size. He had them levitating around the room.
Is that the guy? What was his name again?
George Pigott.
Is that George Pigott you're saying? Right.
Yeah. Right. I got books on electrostatics. This guy named Ford wrote a good book on it, and he actually shows how to build some of the units they use.
Just a sec, we want to...
You bringing somebody in?
3110?
Or 310.
Or 310 rather.
You're on the air.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Hello, Philip.
Hi, guys. I'm just driving in LA traffic. Just thought I'd drop in and say hi. Yeah, I got a wonderful show today. I just wanted to say my appreciation. You guys are kicking ass.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Glad you enjoyed. We'll let Judy talk on. Yeah, Phil. See you later. Yeah. Listen on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hang.
Hold on. No.
Say that again, Phil. Sorry.
I'm breaking up. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just calling to listen in, you guys. So go ahead and.
Okay. Bye.
It's not energy being weapon, is it?
So what happened 100 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So
it was he patented it,
and
and
it was accepted.
yeah. So it's nothing new that we're talking about.
Except that the only thing that's new is that they don't allow patents like that anymore.
No. No, I know.
And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't teach it.
So
But there's something that is really kind of gets to me is that according to our history books, according to Wikipedia, according to anything in our recorded history, that static electricity was supposedly discovered in 600 BC. Yet electricity took another 2,400 years to discover. Was there no lightning between those two?
Yeah, I guess not.
When
Yeah.
was that? BC.
Yeah, they discovered
Before Christ,
static
yeah.
electricity.
That's right. So they discovered static electricity.
And there wasn't
BC.
even
Yeah.
and there wasn't even any nylon around in those days either, was there?
And then, well, yeah.
Yeah, so they weren't running balloons on them. They had their heads standing on them. What the hell were they doing to discover the static? They were in the
electric fish.
thunderstorms or
Where did
something,
they
weren't
discover that from? And what waterfalls or
standing on
something?
end.
I don't remember what the source is for that. But then there was batteries. Also, John Hutchison reproduced the Ark of the Covenant. This is like the capacitors. That was way before they supposedly discovered electricity. Things don't make sense. It's like they discover something, undiscover it.
Yeah.
So,
nothing
is
new
George
under
Pigot's
the sun.
discovery going to be undiscovered?
I'm sure
It
they'll
already
get in
is,
that
I guess.
Yeah, someone's going to suddenly come up with it and say, "Oh, I've discovered levitation." I mean, we know that John Hutchison has recreated that, and that George Pigott.
But he's a lunatic. He's been marginalized. He knows Ace Baker says that he's all fake, and it's how they control.
Some very sensible scientist who wears very sensible clothes and is very media savvy will come
and
up
has got a
and
good
say,
government
"Look,"
grant to tell you no.
Who's just been given a lovely government grant. Yeah, will come forward and say,
"Wow, we need more dollars and we might be getting there."
Yeah, we need another 20 years and we'll be there. So,
we need another 20 years to work out how to
discovering thing is precisely what Andrew Johnson talks about. Discovering water on Mars, or wherever. We had a recent discovery.
They have said, well, this is something Freeman has talked about as well. Them spend billions of dollars, trillions.
Discovering it again.
Yeah, to go to the moon to say, oh, we're looking for water there, or oh, we're looking for water on Mars.
Tight one, mate.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason for it.
Maybe Andrew has the history behind all the different times.
Andrew, are you there?
Andrew, call in.
No, he's there.
He's here, look.
Oh, he's here. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Can you speak to us, Andrew?
I'm here.
Hey!
Yeah, the history on all this rediscovering water someplace.
Hello.
Recently, they rediscovered it again.
Yes, tell us about discovering water on Mars and the rediscovery.
Which time?
Oh, this. Oh, you've checked the subject. My sound temporarily dropped out. You were talking about somebody levitating their balls.
Too exciting for you.
Let your balls levitate and drop some wisdom on us about the water on Mars.
Well, before we do that, I must tell you, as Judy will verify, that it's actually Mr. Bean here.
Yeah.
I'm not actually Andrew. I'm actually Mr. Bean, as was posted on a forum when we did talk in Italy.
Okay, Mr. Bean.
Tell us about water on Mars, please.
So water on Mars, yes. This does continually get re-reported. I think it was originally reported years and years ago, and then it was reported in 2004, and then it was reported again as being discovered in 2009, I think, and they've had a couple of announcements in between that. So it's one of these things whereby they report these amazing discoveries as if they're new, and actually they're years old. And I think that the anti-gravity and levitation technology is like that, really, I think. So yeah.
I just heard about another planet or something. They just discovered there's all sorts of water all over the universe.
Yeah, well, all over the universe. John Lash actually says that there's water all over the universe.
I
that's
saw
what
it on a mainstream TV show.
Really, really. Yeah,
so we go back in 10 years.
Yeah. So why do they keep sending these $1 billion
spy satellites?
Space Wars.
Actually,
they're saying, we need another because we need another $1 billion because we're sending a rocket up to discover water on Mars. Well, Jesus, didn't you realise somebody already discovered that? Oops. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's right. Spy satellite. That's it.
There's actually quite a good quote that I came across on a forum, and they are good for some things occasionally, and I really liked it because it summed up the whole sort of Mars mission. What I sort of looked into this and found these things being reported as new when they're actually very old. Or Gilbert Levin, who was one of the NASA scientists, he discovered life on Mars in 1976. And then NASA did 50 experiments to debunk his result. In other words, they paid him to perform an experiment. The experiment worked and said, yes, there was life on Mars. And then they spent another year doing 50 experiments to disprove that one.
So they can rediscover it again.
Yeah, so they could discover it again later. But this quote I'll read you, not a lot, but it's really good. It's the sort of quote I would write, actually, but I didn't write it, I'm afraid. It says, "Let me give you the whole Mars conspiracy in a nutshell. I have no doubt that there's some real mind-blowing stuff going on Mars, and our governments know it. What they have to do is take people's minds off of Mars. They send these rovers up there, they send back pictures of basically nothing. The TV and internet are flooded with these pictures of nothing. Soon, the people get tired of looking at pictures of nothing and don't want to be bothered with Mars anymore. They trust that the government will make them aware of any important happenings on Mars should they occur. Of course, this will never happen. We, the taxpayers, paid for those rovers. We had a right to know when they were launched and how they landed. We have a right to see the pictures. So they give us 1 million pictures of nothing. Now we're so bored with the pictures that we really don't care anymore. They know we won't ask questions anymore for fear of being bored out of our minds." Which is exactly what these pictures show, in the standard, things that they put out in the papers. But if you go and actually look at the pictures yourself, like this Ron Bennett has done, he's discovered all these little sort of things moving in these pictures from the Phoenix lander, and it's amazing. That's come from Ron Bennett. He's not a NASA guy. He's just some person on the internet who's downloaded them all and gone through and spent weeks and weeks and weeks doing it. And I think that that's kind of what Dr. Judy's done. She's gone through all the pictures that she can find and found out what's happened. So this really is, I think, is a lesson that if you want to find out, you've got to bloody go and look yourself. You can't these institutions that are just put there to sort of protect these so-called the received wisdom, as it were. Yeah. You can't trust them anymore, unfortunately, and it's a real shame.
Judy has an interesting quote, which is that thermite is the grassy knoll to the in a comparison to the JFK 9/11 conspiracy. That if you want to find a conspiracy behind the JFK, they provide the grassy knoll for you to go to and everything around there. And if you want to find a conspiracy within 9/11, then they provide thermite as their grassy knoll.
If you don't like the official story, here we have an alternative.
Yeah,
just for you. Take your pick. One or the other.
Yeah.
What, planes off thermite?
You have, you know, if you don't like Lee Harvey Oswald's story, you have The Grassy Knoll.
Yeah.
These are your two choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you don't like, you know, the 19 bad guys with box cutters, well, you have this thermite story.
Mm.
Yeah. Don't look beyond those.
No.
Well, actually, I've just been doing some more research now. I've actually discovered that it was actually Marmite, not thermite. Or it might have been nano-Marmite.
I don't know if our American friends know Marmite. Do you know Marmite?
No, they wouldn't. That's but I needed to make sure we.
It's a dreadful yeast extract thing that English people put on toast. It's horrible.
That's right. It is horrible. But that's why it was. That's why it's safe to blame 9/11 on Marmite.
I think it was nano-Marmite actually.
I tend to agree. But at least you could spread it on thick, you know, like this thermite was supposedly done. So, you know.
And if anyone, this is Andrew Johnson who's speaking now, and Andrew has an excellent website called checktheevidence.com, and he has some excellent videos and information on there. He's got, you know, really good talks about the moon, Mars, 9/11. Alternatives, energy, gosh, just all kinds of stuff. Really.
Does he have levitating balls?
I've not got that on there yet, but
our friend Philip Lobo would be interested in that site.
Yeah.
As Andrew says, I've back-engineered what happened on 9/11, and he's back-engineered why you haven't heard about it until now.
Yeah, it is. That's basically the way it seems to have happened, and it's all rather peculiar looking back over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, really, how we've ended up in this strange situation. But yeah, it's. I mean, I say to people, you know, all the information is there now. You know, you've just got to spend time going through it. They've tried to cover it up, but I mean, they've sort of been successful in one way, because you know, as you said earlier on. You know, Dr. Judy Wood has been going around the UK to sort of what we might call independent groups who are just doing their own thing. You know, they're not really bothered what the other groups are doing. They're just, you know, wanting to get the information to give to people, and that's what it seems to have come down to now. You know, and that's the way that we're getting information out.
On our site, the Friends of Freeman, the Friendship Agenda, the response to Judy coming on the show tonight has been phenomenal. So there are people in America who are interested in your work.
Great.
Ma'am, and
well, I wonder if the information distribution channels in the U.S. are what more are controlled. Like those in the quote alternative, you know, communication radio industry. They're sort of chased away from having me on without. Not so much the audience, but the loudmouth.
The loudmouth, yeah. Well, what's American Freedom Radio? We've got a friend called Fred Rex who hopefully is listening to this, and I'm pretty sure he'll have you on his show. He's quite a guy. He's a very good friend of John Lash's.
Great.
So yeah, he's a friend of yours, we believe. Let's name drop if we can.
I'd just like to mention that Alex Jones has previously described or implied that Dr. Judy Wood is Marvin the Martian, and that particular audio clip is archived on my website for posterity.
I think we've bashed Alex Jones enough tonight. Let's leave the guy.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
The poor guy's not here to defend himself, so.
Well, you know, I'm sure he can defend himself on his own program if he wishes.
Sure he will, yeah. So if you're listening, Freighter Rex, get in touch with Judy.
Yeah, call in.
Call in as well, yeah. Please do.
Absolutely.
You looking for smoke?
Right. No, obviously.
Radio silence.
Hi, this is Alex Jones. Don't even think about it, guys.
Next we'll have Ace Baker calling in, faking his own suicide.
I think Jesse Ventura's on the at the door as well.
Man.
Better be careful. You'll get them clockwork elves after you.
Yeah, it's certainly been a very interesting evening because a lot of, from the first talks that I saw you doing, the New Hiroshima and those talks, your work has kind of, I wouldn't say moved on, but expanded an awful lot, and it's quite a different talk that you give now, and very, very interesting. Just so much. I can't say it enough times. Buy the book. It's just such a great book. You know, the information in there is just phenomenal.
Hello, Freeman. You're on the line. You're on the air, sir.
Hello.
Oh, fantastic.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
How do you think of this radio show? That makes you look stupid, doesn't it?
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
No, I didn't catch it.
Probably just
I've been trying to phone in. I've been having some Type 1 difficulties. We've now titled everything Type 1, you know. So we have Type 1 food, Type 1 situations, Type 1 metal, and Type 1 radio.
Yay!
This open forum is just a blast. This is fantastic. You've got Judy Wood in your living room.
Yeah.
And you're all hanging out together. This is the friendship agenda at work. I mean, this is all of it. Everything we're hoping that we can all come together and start to just be human and hang out and share openly our lives with everyone else, right?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job. I think you're living up to the plan there.
You know what, Freeman? It's funny though, because this is just what we do anyway, and it takes an American guy perhaps to come forward and tell people it's all right just to hang out in your home with friends.
Yeah.
It's
That's
cool.
what I'm saying.
Just hang out.
And then just air it to the world.
Yeah, let's take it one more level.
Yeah, the fact that we're all doing this and we're making a bit of a kind of scene on it by putting it out on the airways around the world for everyone to kind of join in with. I mean, it's a bit like some of these corny television shows. I don't know if you get them in America. I'm sure you do. But we get these corny television shows where you get a group of kind of very minor celebrity people who come together and discuss kind of very boring topics of the week that have been on and they all say really funny, witty little things, and
there's something's written for them.
Yeah.
And they're on the TV at the time when bored housewives are looking for something to watch on the TV, and
well, I think we should.
On the TV, just go and do it.
I think we have an opportunity here to make a new program. We'll call it Mock the Week. But the American people wouldn't get that.
No, I didn't.
Thanks for the verification.
That was Mr. Bean talking to you there, Freeman.
It was indeed Mr. Bean. That's absolutely right.
We got all the celebrities with us tonight. Judy Wood, Mr. Bean, Freeman.
Yeah.
Who all's on here, actually? I've gotten lost.
It's kind of interesting hearing an American accent.
Yeah, but this has always been Freeman's kind of raison d'etre almost, or a really big part of his message is that just, get together and share things, and it's okay just to hang out. Yeah, no agenda.
Except the friendship.
Set the friendship agenda.
Just talking and sharing information,
Well, we know they have an agenda to make us frightened of one another. And all of the CSI episodes and everything we see on television telling you to fear the humans, fear the humans. And, I was in Australia, and after 44 years of walking around this planet, a little girl walked up to me and asked me to get something from the store shelf that she couldn't reach. This is the first time a child has made interaction with me because we're in Australia, they're all like friendly there. They're human, and where in America we are all frightened, scared, and do not talk to that person. So even in the grocery store, we idly walk by, all living in our heads, not discussing anything, talking anything, discussing the chemtrails going over your grocery store. We're all like zombies walking around, and I've seen the other side of humanity. I was brought out on a vehicle, just, cast myself adrift like Columbus or something, and found myself in a world of a sea of beauty, of people that were guiding me, that were leading my path, and that were giving and receiving from me, and this whole world opened up to me. And it was that experience that I want to transmit to everyone else in the world, to say, look, this is synchronicity, this is how life actually works, and the agenda is to make you completely disassociate with anything of this type of nature. And so we're going to show it to them, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are
showing them
right now.
Right.
and I think that message is more important in America than over here, because I think we've got a more kind of fluid society, a more kind of fluid relationship with our friends and neighbours, because where we live, I mean,
are you saying we're better than Americans?
No.
We're number one. Oh. Yeah, number one in cancer. Number one.
What I've noticed is the biggest difference between, the U.S. and here is that it seems like, nobody has to be identical here.
No,
and it's okay if you're a little different.
We can have rubbish teeth, I mean.
Right. Well, you weren't raised on that glam of, Angelina Jolie and such.
Yeah, you don't have to have breasts that look like this. You don't have to have teeth that look like this. You don't have to have hair that looks like this. You just have to look like how you look, for God's sake.
Well, that's what's so important about right now, is that we can hear that opinion from you. I mean, that's amazing. I know it took the Illuminati and their World Wide Web and CERN to punch a hole into the other dimension so that we could see what it's like to live in England. But
in a bus in America.
But it's like in the U.S., it seems that everyone has to be in lockstep with something, or else they're not okay. And the variety isn't so much there. You can't feel free to be different.
And also through the whole kind of frat system that goes on when you go to college, that you've got to join your group, you've got to be part of your frat group, and associate with the group that you can get in with. Basically, are you cool enough to be with the cool kids, or are you, I don't know, whatever other groups that there are, but it's immediately, as you're growing up, it's putting you into little blocks of people. You can't just flit amongst people. And I know that I've heard Freeman saying that, well, hell, I mixed with the metalheads, and I mixed with the hippies, and all kinds of different people. And this is it. You can be fluid from group to group to group. And just exploring yourself, and saying, well, I like this kind of music and I'm going to dress like this. Well, that's fine, great, do that. But you don't have to label yourself as, right, I am just this. You could go and do flower arranging.
You can occupy your own home.
You can occupy your own home. Yeah, you don't have to go and follow the group mentality. You can still be an individual. Yeah.
But we do live in Brighton, which is a bubble of Britain.
But they're occupying tonight in Brighton.
Are they?
They are.
Where are they occupying?
Oh, a pub, I think.
We're wondering how long the occupiers will last during the snow. I mean, I'm right there with you. Occupy your home. That's really the situation. And
we can't afford to occupy our homes. The electricity costs too much now. Now, what we need, though, actually, that's true, though, because if you get lots of people to come and occupy your home, then you just you'll generate
a lot of heat there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we.
And that's free energy.
We can just all rub up against each other.
Static.
Well, every hippie has a dog too.
Is that why they smell?
Dogs love to rub against things, don't they?
It's a fantastic world out there. It really is.
Where are you at right now, Freeman? Where's the assembly?
Well, we are sitting in a snowbank, about 9 inches of snow fell today.
Well, I just heard this on the weather this morning. They were saying that let's see, east coast of America is experiencing some heavy snowstorms at the moment.
I can confirm that.
Yeah. But But you know,
I don't know.
if you get it, we get it apparently. So
How
we
far
had it
south
really
does it
mild.
go?
It's a pleasant 85 where I'm at.
Arizona.
It goes sort of from Washington right up to New York, I think.
Freeman, what is your location?
Our current agenda is to we have just left from the Sassafras Island meeting, and met with the Type 1 Congress. Of course, that came live on the show last week, right?
Yeah.
God, when you live on the road, your weeks are a whole lot longer. It's amazing. You can pack so much in, it's ridiculous. Like that, it couldn't have been this last week. Anyway, so we are hanging out in Pennsylvania, working our way to Philadelphia so that we can then start to prepare the Type 1 Roadshow, start looking into places. We're going to meet up with the Tesla Foundation, and they have us scheduled with their TV studio there so that we can film some portions there. I've already uploaded a couple of shots from Miss Emily. We've not shown you the inside yet. We got to keep everybody wanting to see more, right?
Yeah.
So we went over all the improvements that happened to Miss Emily after breaking down and having to land right into our wonderful friend's truck repair shop. So all of that went very well and better than we could have ever believed or expected. And that's the beauty of life is, you get more than you expect, but if you only get what you expect, if you only expect, you got to let it flow, you got to open the door. But so she's all set up, ready to go, and we'll be broadcasting the Free Zone live tonight.
Oh, yay!
Straight out of there, so we'll make sure that...
We have Free Zone on Sunday mornings on the podcast. So
we can't stay up that late.
We can't stay up that late. So
right.
we look forward to breakfast with Freeman.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you the lowdown of everything that happened, and that's about all I've got for you tonight is really what's going on in our world. We'll start digging into the rest of the world here really soon. But the Type 1 Roadshow is really not scheduled to begin until spring. And we're going to start really digging in now and getting it all set up and working everything out. So I'm going to meet all the guys down there, the Art Corner crew, Mark Passio, the Tesla Foundation, and we're going to, coordinate this whole thing and get it ready for spring.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Oh, spring on the road will be brilliant. Have you got your chains?
Can't wait. Yes.
Have you got your chains for your wheels?
Yeah, I wish. Another prime message that I always want to give to people is that we do this on a zero budget. I mean, everything I've done, all my broadcasts, TV shows, anything that I've done, and then all my travels and everywhere I've gone have all been done with absolutely zero federal dollars. So,
hang on, I send you $5 a month.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, And I wish more would, But, we stay at a zero budget is the way it works.
If anyone's listening, go to the Freeman, was it Freeman?
No, on the Friendship Agenda now, on the front page, there is a little chip in there for the Type 1 Roadshow. Freeman put up that last night, didn't you, mate?
Yes.
Yeah, but if you go to Freeman's own page, there's a $5 a month. It's nothing. It's like a newspaper, newspaper a day.
Yeah.
Just subscribe.
That's just operational funds, honestly. I'm honestly not getting rich. And then we put up a new system now that you can sponsor the Type 1 Roadshow, and so all of this money will go towards getting this conference together, getting everybody together, and keeping us on the road to get it all. So you can go to freemantv.com or over at thefriendshipagenda.com, and there's you choose your level that you want to be. You could be ground crew, pilot, or an astronaut, and that's how much you want to give in every month to the Type 1 Roadshow. And then we're going to bring you Tesla coils and scientists and permaculture experts and live road shows that are leaving permaculture gardens out in everybody's front yards. You're not paying for nothing. I'm out here. I'm doing it. And that's because everyone has believed so deeply in me that I have to go do it. So I've given myself over to this whole thing, and because of the financial support that we do receive, I feel bound and determined to make this a reality. And
come on, folks, $5 a month or whatever you can afford.
I was in America many years ago, and I was really amazed at how everything costs money. Just to do anything, it just costs money to do anything or be entertained in any small way. You want to go to, like, see some beautiful trees or rock formations, and somebody's made it into a park, and you have to pay to go in there to go and see these things. And it's not really so much like that over here.
So we're about to go across the Jersey and Pennsylvania Turnpike. Now, they are going to rape me. It's probably going to be about $75 to drive 150 miles because of bridges, tolls, and other...
God, yeah. You can't even just from A to B without having to pay.
That's not even the gas. I'm not even at, that's just tolls. Yeah. And if you make a wrong turn, forget about it. It's another 18.
Oh, dear,
It's true. You should have seen the bureaucracy. We had to jump it through to get in the bus. Ridiculous.
Yeah, we watched you. Well, how many tests did you have to sit?
Well, I had six photographs from the DMV, ended up with 4 licenses, each of which I had to pay for. They were like, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. That'll be $13. And then they say, well, why did they charge you over there? It's not supposed to be $13. It's $10. Can you give us that now? And I'm like, what is going on here? Not to mention driving back and forth through to the Capitol to square it all away. Yeah, it was a bureaucratic nightmare, and just to drive the darn thing. And of course, we've been driving it the whole time to go and get the stuff. And,
yeah, sure. Right.
We were well equipped to drive the bus, but it was amazing to witness what you have to go through. Mm-hmm. They would say, oh, okay, we'll call you back, and next thing you know, you're sitting there just waiting for the phone call. But this is all my skit for tonight, so I better not get it all the way today. I'm just really excited that you guys are pulling this all together, hosting and allowing other people to just be guests and hosts, and that you've got Judy Wood in your living room, and that everything is going great.
It's so pedantic, isn't it, Stephen?
Well, it's a Type 1 radio lounge for everybody, and we urge everybody who's listening to
really
do your own show,
all the friends,
get involved.
Just phone in and come in and say hi and just tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world, and get friends round and get them to kind of join in with what's going on. It'd be really great.
Yeah, and we're coming up to like 5 minutes to the end of the live show, but we're just going to continue because we've got another hour there. So if you want to keep listening, you need to ring in so you can still hear the show. Otherwise,
if not, download the podcast, listen to it.
Yeah.
But we're here. You going to stay with us, Freeman, for an hour?
No, I've got to run. I got to eat and then prepare for the free zone. So
of course.
Okay.
Which will be plug your show, mate.
Yeah, tell us what's on the free zone.
All right, FreemanTV.com, Freeman.tv. Jump on over to the Freeman Radio Zone. You got the chat and the listen right there. It's. I mean, I think everybody listening tonight mostly knows, but it's 8 p.m. Central, and there's a countdown clock if you don't want to do the math. It's in a few hours, right?
Well, that's great.
And then also, Freighter X will be on after your show.
Radio Free Humanity, just jump on over to radiofreehumanity.com and you can check it out there.
Or at or the podcast afterwards.
It's so cool just to be able to say, gee, thanks, Freeman, and because normally, I just listen to the Free Zone in the mornings and just think, well, this is great, but now I can say, well, thanks, Freeman.
In person.
It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, and I hope to be talking with you guys a whole lot more now.
Yeah, and lots of love to Jamie and Monty Python out there with you. Is Monty still with you?
Yeah, they're both right here. Lots of love to you guys from the Type 1 Radio.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a month.
And Diva, let's not forget Diva.
Diva?
Diva's with you.
Our little poodle.
Oh!
She's got her own Friends of Freeman profile.
Oh, yeah. Oh, was that you, was it?
Yeah.
I asked, because I used to have a poodle called Sparky, and I asked Diva, did she know Sparky, and she never replied, so I figured, nah.
I thought Diva was a troll.
No. But it's absolutely fantastic because we're just linking up with all the Friendship Agenda members, and we're just driving our bus to there and there and there, and it's a grand time for everybody involved. It's an amazing thing to do, and I can't wait to get it all up in the videos and show it all to you, and we get to meet all of each other. Pretty soon we'll be out there back to the UK, and we'll all hang out.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, after the mine.
How far south are you going?
Florida, Texas, maybe Guatemala.
Okay, so you can meet up with Judy on the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she'll come see you, for sure, yeah.
Where's she at?
Nothing.
She's a lovely lady.
Okay, well, I'll write her and see what she says. Are you on the air? I mean, I don't know if you're in there, Judy. The sea of voices.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So whereabouts are you, Judy?
Near Greenville.
Greenfield.
South Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So any friends of Freeman who are in the Greenville or in South Carolina, then just get in touch with Judy, friend her up, and get her in touch with Freeman. So thank you so much, Freeman. It's been really great to talk to you, and we look forward to hearing you, or I look forward to hearing you tomorrow morning, and Fredericks too.
Right
so
on.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you all.
We're going to play a bit of music now. We're going to play some music from. Actually, this is a tune. I don't know if the podcast is going to go up that we recorded the other night, but this is a tune that we played on that, which is from our good friend Azov.
Who's sat right here.
Who's sitting here.
But he'd still be listening.
Called Great White Hunter Man.
I did that in the hospital.
We're gonna go for a little another tune.
Yeah.
It's Flick Fox's bit of dance while we get things sorted over here. Enjoy, people.
I think I'll wait for the paperback.
And you didn't recognize it. I mean, would you recognize
That looks to me like it's
Well, tonight we've got Judy Wood with us, and things are a little bit chaotic here because we've got a load of people in our little kitchen area here at Area 51. And everybody wants to talk to Judy, and everybody's got questions or little things that just need clarifying. And it's not that people don't believe what you're saying, it's that just these little things are like, well, what do you mean by this, or what do you mean by that? It's not like, that's rubbish you're talking, it's a load of old, tosh. It's so good to actually have you here in the flesh, so we can just say these little things, And so while you're here, and we've got, I think, another hour of broadcast left, I thought it would be quite a nice idea, just because I've got your hefty volume of your book here with me as well, and I've just read your book, and it is absolutely stunning. Not just the information, but the amount of research that you have done personally into the whole thing. You don't just sort of make a speculation about, it could be this. You put like mathematical equations in there that show how this effect works. So it's just such an extremely concise and beautifully well presented book, and so I just thought we could perhaps go through in the last hour, which isn't really very long, go through a few points from this. And I'm going to start off. The first point that we're going to talk about is a very it's almost comical, which is the idea of an aeroplane-shaped hole appearing in the buildings after an aeroplane is supposed to have gone through it. Now, we're not going to discuss whether aeroplanes went through or whether this or whether that, but just the fact that we were told an aeroplane went into the building, and then there's this aeroplane-shaped hole almost to kind of underline it. An aeroplane went in the building, and an aeroplane-shaped hole, so it must have been an aeroplane. It must have been an aeroplane. There's almost like a kind of panic about this thing that they thought people might not perhaps get it, so they had to put an aeroplane-shaped hole there just so people really got the aeroplane-shaped hole. And you make a good example of this, that when Roadrunner goes through things in his cartoons, he leaves a Roadrunner-shaped hole, Because it's a cartoon, for God's sake.
Right. Wile E. Coyote gets his Acme steel plate.
Yeah.
And holds it up to try to catch the Roadrunner, and then something whoosh goes through, and what was that? He looks at his Acme steel plate. It's got this
shape that looks like a Roadrunner.
Yeah. That was.
It was Roadrunner.
Yeah.
So what went into the buildings? An aeroplane. Oh, there's a shape of an aeroplane.
Must be an
aeroplane, of course. So yeah, that's quite a funny point that I just thought was.
That WCAI clip that I played earlier today, where the guy on the radio show.
That's really funny, actually. Judy's got a clip of this guy, and
he was
he's
on
doing
9/11 as
yeah,
things are unfolding.
on 9/11. He's doing a live radio show, and he decides to turn the TV on to like get a bit more information on what's going on. And in the background, you can hear the TV going, and the TV goes, and there's an airplane-shaped hole in the building.
There's an airplane-shaped hole.
And the guy repeats this, and he always trips himself up with a little giggle as he says an airplane-shaped hole in the building. He manages to retain his composure at the end of it, doesn't he? Yeah.
But it was real immediate response. Yeah, that's how people would really respond.
Yeah, that's it. And another really interesting point that you make as well about those kind of just crazy, bizarre things that went on for the day was that you make a comparison to the fact that when Orson Welles did the famous War of the Worlds on the radio over America, and people were really believing what was going on. A lot of the fact that they really believed and took this story in was because there were no commercial breaks during this. So it was just running and running and running.
Must be serious.
It's important and serious. And when the Twin Towers events occurred, they cut their commercial breaks on the major TV stations. No commercial breaks. So this was serious, and it was a story that was running and running and running, and there were no breaks, so people couldn't get a chance to go, oh, let's have a cup of tea. Oh, an airplane-shaped hole in the buildings. Isn't that a bit funny? Oh, or just any other kind of things that came up that made people question what was going on.
And
there was none of that.
After a break, you would have time to contemplate, like, am I going to buy that or not?
And when there were kind of times for breaks from the TV studios, they seemed to fill it with little kind of clips of reporters on the streets, and I've seen a few things of like 9/11 clues, September clues. It's quite interesting in its breakdown of the coverage of the media by 9/11, which kind of shows a lot of how there was just an awful lot of
I didn't really pay so much attention to that. I guess I choose to pick my own,
right.
You know, what I observe in the way I observe it, and to see what I see.
Yeah.
But what was so interesting about, again, how they didn't have ad breaks, and what
it was
really,
constant, wasn't it? Constant. Right. So even the breaks from like media studios went to people on the street, so they then took over. But it was constant.
You know, right. So people didn't have a chance to stop and think about what it means. But one of the things I found really, I guess, suspicious, that got me thinking, am I going to buy this or not? You know, is this really what it looks like it is or what they say it is? Was that I had rabbit ears and not cable, limited number of channels. You have to tweak the antenna each channel. But as I turned the channels, they're all playing the same tune. All playing the same thing. Usually what you would get is, you know, up close and personal with this person. They drove their loved one to the airport that morning. Someone else designs buildings. Someone else designs or flies airplanes. But Sid, the same picture, the same story on each of the channels.
On all the channels, yeah.
It was bizarre.
It's like a script.
Yep.
Yeah, was going on there. So were just a few sort of things that came up. Now, something that I found very disturbing in the book, and which you kind of say as well, is a very disturbing thing to look into, but that you have to look into to get an understanding of what was going on, and that's the jumpers, or the people who fell from the building.
Who left the building.
Who left the building, let's say, because, yeah. And yeah, there was the first responders there, the firemen. They had never seen so many people leave a building.
Jumping out.
A building that was a building in danger, like say they'd been to fires or something. They'd never seen so many people. I mean, many people just burn in fires because they don't want to jump. So jumping from like 110 floor building, you just know you're going to die if you do that. What would make you do that? Because people just usually die in the fire rather than make the decision that I'm just going to jump. And
not only that, is if you really know that you're for sure know that you're going to cook, in many of them were waiting for somebody to come rescue. They didn't think the building was going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And of course, sit and wait. But then it's just kind of bizarre behavior too for someone who's supposedly hot. At Virginia Tech, we had some fraternities goofing around and cranked up the thermostat in the swimming pool. And I used to swim every morning. Went over there and I said, well, swim at your own risk. Well, hey, I hate getting in cold water. This is great. It was 92 or 93 degrees Fahrenheit. And so I got in, go trucking across the pool, get about halfway across, and I realized I'm in trouble. I'm heating up faster than I can get rid of heat. So I just said, okay, I'll roll over my back and just relax and quit putting out extra heat. And they knew I was kind of in trouble, and somebody threw me a rope. And I remember, is it really worth reaching over to get that rope? I was just so lethargic.
From the heat, yeah.
To think, is it worth reaching over to get the rope? That's the kind of mental process. That's why you have a limitation of how long you can stay in a hot tub or in a sauna, because you get too lethargic to be able to get out. Your muscles don't operate. Now, consider the towers. They're like, especially that Melissa Doy. Of course it's hot. I'm burning up. Can't breathe. I'm choking. You never heard her.
She was in a real panic. This is a transcript which Judy has in her book from a lady called Melissa Doy, who unfortunately, I think her body was found. She jumped from the tower, hadn't she?
I don't know.
No, or they didn't find her body.
I didn't remember anything about that, but they recorded her on.
But her transcript of her speaking with a 911 operator.
For 5 minutes, and they allowed us to hear that segment for the Moussaoui, trial. Moussaoui was not tried. That was a sentencing hearing. They hadn't confessed, but they told us it was a trial, so people think somebody was tried.
What was this? I don't know what this is. Moussaoui trial, what's that?
In the spring of 2006, we're told it's the 20th hijacker. It's repeated so many times, the Moussaoui trial.
I don't know this.
The 20th hijacker, supposedly.
Right, was this a hijacker that didn't get on or something?
Something like that. And they, got him to confess based on some kind of promise, because later on he said, kind of like people reneged, he wanted to retract his confession because they weren't following through with what they promised him.
Right.
But there's the sentencing hearing. They couldn't have tried him because, heck, my billiard ball example?
Yeah.
That's reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
And so, but they got him to confess. And then they had the sentencing hearing that they played up like a trial, so the whole world thought that somebody was tried and convicted.
Right, okay.
And so one of the exhibits
Justice
for that
is being seen to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
The Melissa Doy clip for 5 minutes was part of that evidence that was released to the world. So for 5 minutes we hear Melissa Doy talk about how she's burning up. You don't talk about burning up for 5 minutes and not be done.
And she's in a panic when she's talking as well.
I'm burning up. I can't breathe. I'm choking.
Yeah.
You never heard her choke.
You didn't hear her cough. You didn't hear anybody around her cough. Yet she says the smoke in the room where she is.
Right.
But you call it fumes in your book.
Probably it was like lather.
Right. There was some kind of fuming going on. We won't call it smoke, but something was happening there.
She thought she was burning up.
Yeah.
Kind of like what the active denial system might be doing.
Active denial. If you haven't checked out...
Not that that's what it was.
Yes, we're not saying that's what it was, but there was some kind of energy field that is making you very hot.
Making you feel hot.
feel hot, and that you have to get away from. Well, she felt hot, but perhaps jumpers were in a position where they were feeling a field that was just like the active denial, where they just had to get away from it straight away.
Right.
And because I've seen journalists on YouTube being kind of experimenting, guinea pigs, that's the word I'm looking for the active denial system, and they can't stand more than 3 seconds before they have to kind of split straight away. And they're in nice cozy fields somewhere in the countryside. They're not in a building that they believe is on fire or that is in some.
If
so
your hand is on a burn, if you have a electric stove.
Yeah, you can hold it for so long and then
Well, not just hold it for so long. It's like, let's say you accidentally put your hand down a red hot burner.
Ow! You take it off straight away.
You don't stop and debate and think, well, should I take it off?
Yeah.
It's not a choice.
You don't even think, let's see how long I can hold it there, which is what the journalists were doing in these cases. They were seeing how long, and 3 seconds was as long. They could.
And
yeah.
I'm sure they had turned down for them too.
yeah, exactly. Yes, they want to ramp that thing up. Yeah. So
with Melissa Doy, if she was physically hot, like as in a thermometer, registering it, rather than some other sensation, it'd be like a hot tub or a sauna. And I use lethargic. I'm burning up.
Yeah.
There's this hyper state that people are not in when they're overheating for 5 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, because you can stand heat. It's like the bathtub that heats up. Yeah, you can stand that heat and relaxes you. Exactly. Yeah. So there's some really interesting clues going on within.
Not what you think it is.
Yeah, and the fact that the fire crews were saying that it was raining people at times. And as I said earlier, they had never seen this many people. Many of the fire crews, I suspect, had never even seen somebody jump from a burning building. It's not something.
20-year career.
Yeah. Whereas now, do people? It shocked
like
me.
1,200 people.
Yeah.
From the North Tower.
1,200 people
went out the windows.
Jumped from that tower.
So in the 3,000 people that they saying that perished, that's they're included. Yeah. So that's
the people that went
people.
missing.
Right, so half the people seem to jump for no apparent reason.
Or not necessarily jump,
or
say
just
they went out the
expel
window.
themselves from the building.
And not necessarily.
Or even.
We don't know for sure.
Right.
Even how they went out the window.
Yeah.
There's some that, there's this one particular fellow who looks like he's trying to flap his wings, like as though he accidentally somehow fell out the window.
Like, shit, I jumped out the window. What the fuck did I do that for?
or where am I? It's not that he even saw it. It could be
right, it may be a
he,
disorientation.
Or somebody pushing that, or something.
Levitation.
Yeah.
But right, okay, maybe something like that could have been happening.
Who's like 100 feet from the building.
This is another point that you're making in the book as well, is that there's no, I think I'm right in saying that there's no evidence of people bouncing off the building?
Not that you can see, but there's people some distance from the building. You think there's a bumpity bump down the edge, but I looked at the Olympic record for 1900s, which should be
a long jump,
standing broad jump.
Yeah,
because people who are in a building with their street shoes or whatnot, that's probably equivalent to the early.
Yeah, if you want to decide to jump out of window and you make a run jump,
and if the standing broad jump, that with the biggest by the time you get down to about the 45th floor or so, because you can see where one of these mechanical floors are.
Yeah.
How far could you have drifted outward if you're still coasting outward at that particular rate?
Yeah.
And you had to jump from the top floor at world's record standing broad jump effort, and still that's a little bit far to be that far away from the building.
Mm.
You kind of wonder, is there a wind that picks them up, or what?
Something is pushing them right out there. Yeah.
There are actually body parts found. That's would be.
That's another weird thing.
But
yeah. Another book. Excellent.
Several blocks down.
Yeah. In one of the pictures you showed tonight, you said, "Oh, and that's a leg there."
Oh, there's
it's quite disturbing.
Gruesome, but there's a firefighter who said he was at the corner of Church and VC, and he said, well, there's a guy who came up and needed help with a leg. It wasn't his leg, it was somebody else's leg. It's weird stuff like that. It was just horrible. And think what this is doing to these firefighters and first responders. This was not normal.
Yeah, it's putting them in a state of, well,
they were stepping around the bodies without realizing these are bodies because they had to tune it out.
Yeah.
It was just...
It's a disassociation, isn't it, going on there? So you're not really witnessing what's going on. You've disassociated yourself from the situation.
Trauma-based mind control.
Trauma-based mind control, yeah, is what might have been going on. I think we spoke. I've made a little thing about thermite here, but I think we spoke about thermite earlier, did we? On the show, or was that when we were at the talk?
It was Marmite you talked about.
Right, we spoke about Marmite, but obviously the opposition to I won't say the opposition, but the official or the alternative look into 9/11 involves this idea that thermite was used to create a controlled demolition. So thermite is a cutting tool, is it not? It's used for cutting. It melts and cuts. Okay, so
it
buildings...
It takes a while to cut because, especially if steel's thick, because you can only put it on the surface, and it has to work by thermal conductivity. So you have to wait for the heat to kind of keep sinking into the material.
Mm-hmm. And things that I've seen on YouTube of thermite being used, that wow,
like a giant sparkler.
Yeah, it's really bright. It's a big sparkler. It's like a big firecracker, and the buildings, when they came down, there was very little left of them. Yeah, sorry, that's it. When the buildings disappeared,
and they came apart.
When they came apart, the end result was that there was very little material left, and I've heard kind of 9/11 truth, if I can use that term to kind of describe the people who use the thermite theory, that they say that the thermite turned it to dust and destroyed all that material. Now, to destroy that much material with thermite, well, just
melt. So you can have big glop of stuff.
Well, yeah, melted stuff, should be there. But also, the whole building would have just shone in a blinding light with the amount of thermite that it would have taken to complete, and the heat would have been just tremendous. We would have seen something like a supernova happening in front of us. But we don't. We just see this building turn to dust. And their way of explaining the fact that it doesn't impact the ground, we'll go into that in a little moment, is that, well, the thermite or thermate, whatever, Marmite, whatever term you want to use, got rid of all the material within the building, and that's why there is no building left. It was just dust. But the fact is that thermite merely cuts stuff or melts it, and that to have a controlled demolition, the floors would have had to pancake down on one another, and so we would have had a nice stack of pancaked floors there.
And a hammer going boom, 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 boom on the
ground,
bedrock.
On the bedrock. Okay, but the seismic report, or what? Not report. The seismic
magnitude was insufficient, and also lasted too short.
Yeah.
The ground shook for 8 seconds for the North Tower.
Yeah.
It takes 9.5 seconds to throw a bowling ball off the roof and have it hit the pavement.
Yeah. And the King Dome, which was only how many stories?
It was like 250 feet high. It was pretty short.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a really. It was a big building, but it wasn't. Wasn't even a third as big as the Twin Towers.
Potential energy-wise, mass in height, whatever height, it was 1/30th of a Twin Tower.
Right. And how long did that take to fall to the ground?
Well, the ground shook for like 52 seconds.
Right, 52 seconds for that one.
It would take, throwing a bowling ball off the roof, it would take 3.9 seconds to the pavement.
Right. But it shook for 52
seconds.
52 seconds. Whereas when the Twin Towers fell, the ground had a small seismic wave.
Less than the length of time it would take to throw a bowling ball.
For a bowling ball to fall off.
But the most significant part of this is that with the Kingdom, as well as with an earthquake that was in Midtown Manhattan, those both show a P wave and an S wave arrival. That is the primary wave and the secondary wave. And you look at how much delay there is between those two, and it gives you an indication of how far away the event is. Because those waves travel through the Earth. Then the third kind of wave you have is surface waves. The towers only made a surface wave. No P wave, no S wave. It did not travel through the Earth for any of the building 7 or Tower 1 and Tower 2.
So for a controlled demolition of a pancake collapse, you would most definitely have had an Earth travelling signal, which didn't occur, and for thermite to have completely pulverized supposedly the floors, it would have just looked like a supernova occurring, which obviously it didn't.
No, it wouldn't pulverize, it would melt.
Right, melt. So these two things just don't add up.
It's also talked about how the military has thermite.
Oh,
you know what they use
the military have
for?
Thermite for? What do they use it for?
Well, a couple of things. They used to use it for melting gun barrels, so when they invade enemy territory, they don't have to scoop up all their guns and haul them away. They just melt the gun barrels so they can't use them.
Right.
The other thing they use it for, if the enemy is invading your territory and you don't want them to get a hold of your top secret documents, you have a thermite grenade. Toss it out, poof, all your papers get burned up.
Oh, wow.
It's used for burning paper.
And what was left after the World Trade Centers came down?
Paper.
There was just tons and tons. In fact, I saw a clip tonight of a reporter desperately trying to find words to describe what he was seeing, and there was a burnt-out car, but there was paper in it, and he was saying, I can't remember what it was now, but he said some weird kind of thing.
Burnt-out paper.
Yeah, we've got the... That's right, the remains of burnt-out paper. I love that. That's why he was really struggling for something to kind of describe what... Yeah. Oh my God, he could see a burnt-out car and paper in it. So how does that work? How did that paper get in that car? Oh, it's burned out paper.
One says things are totally melted, totally gone, but fortunately this car still has its melted engine. or they're still trying to figure out what vehicle that is that belongs to Con Edison.
This is another really funny thing as well that you point out, that the only filing cabinet to be retrieved from the World Trade Centers was kind of this weird, it's this weird squidgy blob of...
Squashed.
It's not squashed, okay.
It's crinkled up like a...
Right, like a piece of paper that might crinkle up like that. No.
The guy who collected it described it as the size of a basketball.
Right.
And it had unburned paper in it.
Unburnt paper in it.
A red divider and a blue divider, and it had money in it. Ooh. And they found out whose money it was. It belonged to Ben & Jerry's ice cream store.
Cool.
And they returned the money, the cash, to the Ben & Jerry's store.
So that was...
The Ben & Jerry's melted.
Probably over, days or whatever, ambient temperatures. Probably get cool for the night.
That's so bizarre, isn't it? That a whole kind of cabinet
that was
could
the
look...
only one, the entire...
that only one could be found, and it looks like it's... That to like an untrained observer, it looked like it had melted by heat, but it had paper inside it.
So it wasn't really melted. It looked like you get a big bunch of paper wadded up into the size of a round thing. It kind of looked like that, except it was metal.
Yeah. Jeez. With paper inside it, so obviously it wasn't heat that did this.
Right.
That's That's
Same
a
with a few
bizarre
coins, because
scenario.
you can still identify the coins. Nothing is melted there, including coins that had zinc on the inside and copper on the outside, pennies.
Okay.
Zinc
has got a
boils
higher...
before copper even melts.
Right.
And it has a very low boiling temperature and melting temperature, but the zinc boils before copper melts.
So the zinc, if there had been heat involved in that, the zinc would have boiled before the copper could have melted, and so they wouldn't just be fused together. Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And it doesn't seem disruptive. So how does it melt together if you don't even get above the melting temperature of zinc?
Yeah. You blow my mind, Judy.
And even better yet, with these globs of stuff together, you have unburned paper. I should have picked a different picture for that layers of paper. There's one I have that says expenses on it. You can read the word expenses on the paper. You think they want to burn that?
Yeah.
In-run people.
Exactly.
They also found his passport, didn't they?
I don't know about that. That's the story we're told.
That's a conspiracy.
We don't deal in conspiracies.
He said, she said, who said, what said.
Remember,
I spent my growing years in Missouri, the Show Me State.
How would that have got out of
the Show Me State? That's it. Show me.
Yeah, I need to see it. And I can take somebody's word for it, or so-and-so said that so-and-so saw that maybe this person said that person saw. I need to see it myself.
Yeah, Chinese whispers, yeah. That's it. Yeah. It's like that with kids, they have arguments and blah, 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 and well, and you just go to the point and say, right, what did you say? What did you, and, get to the point of it. Let's not talk about what so-and-so said or so-and-so said or so-and-so said.
What's the issue?
Yeah, what's the issue here? Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, yeah.
So, I'm thinking, what's your view on as we watch the towers disappear, go away. Would you agree that there are projectiles?
It's sort of like effervescing. When you drop an Alka-Seltzer tablet into a glass of water, it almost looks like it's got jet propulsion in there. The way the effervescence
as we watched that. But would you say that they seem to, the projectiles, as the building disappears, that they have a path?
Well, it's sort of frothing up, and it does sort of kind of go up and over it like an arc.
What do you think might have been causing? I'm just trying to get my head around the idea that
any kind of
some kind of force,
because
those objects must have quite heavy. They must be quite heavy.
But the effervescing equivalent, whatever they're doing, the frothing up, is very energized, almost like jet propulsion, kind of. It seems to be very energized, like an Alka-Seltzer tablet has a lot of energy kind of release when it effervesces.
But it was interesting that
particles releasing themselves and spinning around each other.
That Judy shows a shot of Building 7 with the smoke pouring out the side, and I used the wrong term. Fumes.
Yeah,
material pouring out the side, very black material, but where there are holes and what seems to busted out windows, but there's no fire licking out or smoke coming out from there.
Fumes coming out.
It's all just coming from the side, and it seems
from ground to roof.
And it seems to kind of be coming out with a real force, but then all of a sudden, all of a sudden kind of going back on itself. So it's kind of pushing out and then coming back on itself and pushing out and coming.
It kind of spirals around going south, but comes out the east face. But it's very energized. If something was pushing its way out, you'd have a traffic jam there at that intersection.
It would be coming out of all orifices to release itself into the outside world. Yeah. It wouldn't just be coming out of that one side of the building. It would come out of...
energetically coming out.
Very energetically, yeah. So it makes you wonder...
By a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, as if it's been sucked and then...
Not just a vacuum cleaner, but something pulling it out.
There's an energy, some kind of energy field there which is pulling it out and then throwing it back in on itself. And you just mentioned there about, or someone mentioned about an magnetic field.
Yeah, well, when
and
you
I
do
think, the old iron filings thing.
Create patterns with magnetic fields.
Yeah, they go back in on themselves, don't they? I think that's something you use in the book, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'd say it. I kind of hinted at it looks like a magnetic field, just showing that that's a field effect. Because you don't see a field, you just see the effects of it.
Right, yes. Exactly. I remember being amazed by that as a child, that here was this piece of metal, and then you just sprinkle iron filings around, and it creates this pattern. And it's like, well, that's what's coming from this piece of metal, this field effect.
And so there's some other kind of field that appears to be operating on this, like you see in the south face of Building 7. It sort of looks like one of those magnets. You see the poles. And there's this couple of dark lines in the middle, and it seems to be going around that.
Yeah.
And if it's a different type of energy, not magnetic necessarily, but something else that attracts the atoms in some kind of way.
Yeah, something we don't really understand, but which
it sure looks like that.
Yeah.
And because these particles seem to be on a mission. They're going somewhere. They know where they're going.
Yeah.
It's not that they're wafting randomly away.
Yeah. And that's something that you talk about with the towers generally, not just Building 7, that there seems to be like a frothing up goes on within them, as if whatever kind of field is interplaying with the buildings is...
Also, the frothing up, instead of the molecules being attracted to each other, they're now repelling each other.
Right.
And suddenly they're all just kind of, frothing up, coming apart. What first struck me was that, I'm talking about molten metal, and I said, well, wait a minute, you'd have a steam explosion if you had molten metal, because you have this water sitting around.
There's all the water, yeah.
And a steam explosion becomes because when water becomes steam, it expands in volume by 1,600 times. It needs more space.
Right.
That's why you get steam explosions. So after talking with someone about that, I was looking at the tipping top of Tower 2 and all of that frothing that was coming out. And wait a minute. This is like the solid material is needing more space, like steam.
Yeah.
Just suddenly expanding. It just needs to get away from itself. Like each of the building particles are repelling each other.
Right. And that's another very interesting point that you make as well about the tippling top, because I can remember watching that on the TV footage of the top of the building suddenly going. And, I mean, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, my God, the top of the building there is just falling off as if, like, the top of it was breaking off. And it was going to, well, just that I didn't even think about the rest of the building going. I just thought, oh, my God, the top of it is falling off and it's going to crash to the ground. And oh my God, the people below and the top of this building is just toppled off. But the top of the building doesn't topple off. It kind of, well, the whole of the building then starts to do something. So it's not just the top that's kind of going, it's the whole of the building starts doing something and kind of going down. But then the top of it that was toppling over and looked like for sure it was going to kind of fall over and hit the ground and smash into other buildings beside it. It stops rotating and then just kind of rotates in on itself in some way.
Right, and it appears to be that it's violating the laws of the conservation of angular momentum.
Yeah.
But it turns out, I believe that it does not violate the laws of physics. As a rigid body, it might, but it's no longer a rigid body. If the rigid body is rotating and stops rotating, each individual little speck can continue rotating, so it still retains the laws of conservation of momentum, but not in the
but just not as a whole body, just as individual parts of that body.
Right, little particles of it that continue rotating.
Yeah. So that would kind of prevent the whole body from rotating. It would just move it into a kind of minutiae of...
So it appears at a gross level that this top block starts rotating, and then it may even look like it rotates back a little bit, but stops rotating.
But it just kind of stops rather than...
As a rigid body.
Yeah.
It's no longer a rigid body.
Yeah, yeah. And the really interesting footage as well that you have of the core columns.
Mm-hmm.
How many floors was it?
About 70, that's 70 floors.
70 floors of core columns within the building. Yeah.
7.
They seem to, like an outer layer seems to peel from them.
Like a peeling banana.
And then they kind of hold, like some kind of drunken sailor for a second, and then they just give up.
They just kind of faint and poof away.
Yeah, become, yeah, it's quite bizarre, and I've heard people, you know, dismissing this as like doctored video footage, but I mean you've got it from lots of different angles as well.
And also there's that footage of the chunk falling towards the intersection of Vesey and West Street.
Right.
And then you go look at the street, where'd it land?
Yeah, if there's a huge chunk like that, which represents how many floors would that chunk represent? 2 or 3 floors?
At least 3.
Yeah, but there's no holes. There are no holes in the road around where these huge buildings were supposed to have collapsed. There's nothing there. There's just dust and paper, like you say. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw all these things flying out.
Yeah, and so we're kind of witnessing huge, like chunks of building turning into smaller chunks, smaller chunks, smaller chunks as they're going down, and they're just placing them, and they keep doing it. They place themselves on the floor as maybe pebble-sized things. So obviously a pebble-sized thing wouldn't be able to be blown a long distance, and that's another thing that you say, that the dust plume
pretty far, but then
yeah.
if it becomes dust mid-flight,
it doesn't go that far.
What did you think of the Bob and Bree video segment?
I thought that was interesting as well. Yeah,
it goes out, didn't quite reach their window, and then it goes up.
Yeah, because that looks like a cloud which is going to smash into their building. This is a couple called Bob and Bree, and they lived in a very tall tower block, which was right on the Hudson River, and they were in full witness of, was it Tower 1? Tower 1 as
how far away?
As it began
a couple of blocks
to disintegrate, and
near where the pedestrian bridge is.
Yeah, they're in complete shock, and you can hear it on the video. And this huge rolling cloud is just hurtling towards them, and you can hear the shock in their voices as they're saying, "Oh my God, these people have got to run out of the way! Isn't the danger? They're shutting all the windows and everything." But it gets quite close, but then it just starts going up as if like
rising heat spread.
Yeah, as if somebody has like thrown a stone at you. You know, like imagine in this film The Matrix, you know, where, you know, a bullet comes towards you and then suddenly it stops and disintegrates. Yeah. It's as if the particles began to do that. They really had force and were kind of coming towards their building, and then suddenly they became so small that they had no more force behind them.
What was driving them up? Kind of like a force field of some sort, almost. You know, it was like they're on a mission, because they're definitely going up. There's various interesting things like that, and I think that the toughest thing that people have with all of this is they want to jump to an answer. They need an answer. They don't care about the details. They just want an answer.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with this, because if someone gives you an answer, you don't own it. You don't understand how it got there. You're just memorizing an answer. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And as soon as someone gives you an answer, you're going to say, well, you don't have evidence to support it. So we have to look at this evidence. And the more you look at this evidence, you see how weird it is.
Yeah.
Some really strange, like spontaneous combustion, or apparent spontaneous combustion cars and other vehicles. That the buildings don't catch fire, the signposts don't, trees don't, just the vehicle.
Yeah.
You demonstrated that in that video you showed with the Hutchinson where he had the plastic boat. And
yeah.
Just, you know, when he turned
I never knew that boat was plastic. I always thought that boat was metal, you know.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting as well, because I've heard people trying to debunk the John Hutchison stuff by saying, oh, those fake videos of his levitating balls. I hate to say it again, but the
camera in a cardboard box and turns the box upside down.
Yeah, but he shows evidence of levitating water. Now, how do you fake levitating water? That's going to be a pretty tricky one to pull off. and he's showing this effect. And then when he when he puts the effect on, the water begins to levitate. And then when he turns it off, you get these weird fires just suddenly sparking up here and there.
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, spontaneous combustion on a plastic object. It's not like there's it's not metal. It's not.
Yeah.
Something.
Controlled explosion.
Yeah, it's not controlled.
We get a bit from and well, just 5 minutes.
Right, I'm just being told in my left ear here that we only have 5 minutes left on the show, and so we're going to start winding things up a bit. But give us this point, Judy.
Oh, I was just finding the page here in the book showing these pictures of the
page 377.
Which you can't see on the radio.
Yeah, but that was the same.
But they're very good.
That he had in the video.
Yeah. I've watched those pictures of John Hutchison, and yeah, just like I was saying, that somebody who was very much part of the 9/11 Truth movement was very adamant that John's videos were some kind of magician's trickery, but the evidence of water levitating can't be denied. You couldn't trickery that.
Oh, let me take this opportunity to clarify something. This Ace Baker character claimed he had made a $100,000 offer to John Hutchison to demonstrate that he could get this wrench to levitate. John said, "Oh, sure." And I thought, okay, there's some kind of catch to this. And I was thinking that John shouldn't do it because, you play with idiots, you end up with idiot stuff. Why do it? And John, oh no, this is this is fun, easy money. He's innocent, naive, at least presenting to be, and so he signed the contract that Ace Baker offered him, agreeing to do this. And then the night before that was supposed to happen, John had rounded up various people to witness it. Ace Baker called him and said, "Tomorrow's not going to happen." John had that on the answer machine on his phone. He recorded with a sock talking and put it on YouTube. And he went ahead the next day and did the demonstration with his witnesses. And so Ace Baker owes John Hutchison $100,000. John Hutchison came through, but Ace Baker says John Hutchison backed out of the deal. And because he has something to hide. No, it's Ace Baker who backed out.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And yeah, this is the kind of thing you find. And people like Stephen Jones, who are like pinnacles of the 9/11 Truth movement. And it's very interesting when you look into Stephen Jones and the way he, with the whole cold fusion subject, he...
Who came up with that term?
Stephen Jones.
Fusion? At room temperature? How stupid can you be? Cold fusion? Ha ha ha. Who's going to believe that?
But who were the two guys that had their paper that they were about to release, and then suddenly Stephen Jones came up like within days of... That's right, Fleischmann, and yeah, they were these guys had years of scientific study that they were about to release. And Stephen Jones gets wind of it, and then suddenly releases his paper a few days before.
It's to get the grassy knoll and the thermite. It doesn't work.
It's the grassy knoll, thing as well. So he gets all the press attention, so that when they release their material, he shows it doesn't work. So that when they release their material, saying, "Oh well, actually we found something a little bit different," nobody wants to know that he's taken the limelight already. And
here's a question I'd like to ask you. I've been attacked from all different directions, and then some, and smeared, and called all sorts of names. She's ugly, she's stupid, she's this, she's that. But they never talk about the evidence.
I'd just like to say she's not ugly for a start. Okay.
and this book has been out for almost a year. No one has been able to refute anything in it.
Mm-hmm. Where are the court cases around this book?
What?
Where are the court cases around this book if they say it's not true?
They haven't refuted any of it.
Yeah.
They only talk about this other stuff. There's a lot of this other noise going around. Why is there so much energy on this? I'm trying to convince people of that.
Yeah, that your book is nothing.
Or that I'm wrong. Why?
But do you know what, Judy? If they ever zap your house with this whatever kind of thing they have, paper doesn't burn, so your books will be safe and the evidence will prevail. And on that bombshell.
Would you want to promote some websites or something like that?
Okay, so Judy, tell us where people can get hold of you and follow your work.
DrJudyWood.com, that's
Is
DR.
there a song we can play out with?
.com, or wheredidthetowersgo.com. It's hard to type because it's no spaces in it, just wheredidthetowersgo.com.
Yeah.
And also Andrew Johnson's site.
Andrew's great. Andrew's a really lovely guy, and I must say that both Andrew and Judy really appeal to me for just their total, ordinary, down-to-earth, people who you would bump into in the store kind of appeal. They're not... I don't mean this in a bad way, Judy, but I'm just going to say they're not slick. They're not... It's like, you can tell that Judy has not been to media school, and... yeah, she just...
Or marketing school.
Yeah, or marketing school. She tells it like it is, and...
the Beatles wrote a song about her.
and yeah, just like, you would meet people and just blurt out what you think. I think that's what Judy does, and... thank you so much for blurting it out, Judy. You couldn't hold it in any longer.